Welcome to the show. My name is Erik Nagel, and joining me is my buddy Gittles. Good, how are you? We are live in Miami Beach. Right, and it's also because you're a vampire. We're down in Miami Beach for the Florida Supercon, which we're broadcasting live from. We did a lot of interviews. Look, to be honest, we're not going to get a lot of live interviews on a Saturday night. So some of the interviews, well, all the interviews, they weren't recorded live, but we're going to play them here live with us as we are live right now. We are out poolside by the hotel that we're at on South Beach. It is very nice. It's actually, you know what? If you have a lot of money, Miami seems to be a nice place to be. Right. We are down here for Florida Supercon, which we've been spending the last few days. Look, it's been busy. You think going to the cons are fun and everything. It is. It's great. But interviews. Lots of interviews, especially when they're scheduled. Then you have to do signings. I guess they're appearances, if you want to call it that. Then you got to take all this stuff back. You got to edit it. You got to put it together, and then it's just there's just a lot to do. Yeah, I'm not complaining. It's just so much work to do. I don't want to say fun. I'll take fun back. I'll just say free time. All right. So if we're doing this, imagine what San Diego's going to be like in a couple of weeks. Roland and I are going to be walking all over. Roland's going to come back maybe 1/3 of the gentleman that he is. You know, the first day we got to the convention, we're checking in, we're getting our badges, we're going to set up, and we see that, and I said, Roland, you need to have one of those. And he was looking at it, he's like, no, but I know he was thinking, yes. I said, Roland, I'll pay for it. All you have to do is go over there, we'll set it up, and you just have to ride around in the scooter through the whole con. Because there's a lot of people that were in worse shape than Roland is, and they had the scooters, and they're in costume. But I was like, Roland, this will just make it easy. You can just sit there and you kind of lean and you ride around, you know, like it's on a motorcycle and stuff. And he really liked the idea, but then all of a sudden he just backed out, wouldn't do it. Yeah, that's another thing he's been doing down here, periscoping a lot. So follow Rolandos99 on Twitter to get all your Roland Periscope. Anyway, anything else about Miami? Let's see, the flight down was delayed, 3.5 hours. So we were just pretty much living at the airport. We got on the plane. Some kid was making this noise, but it was in a repetitious pattern, that it wasn't just like a kid crying or screaming, but nobody was doing anything about it. The parents weren't doing anything about it. So Roland decided to record the kid's noise, and then when the kid was making the noise, Roland would play the noise back to the kid. Well, he did that too. So that was funny, and then we took off, and then you were saying there was a problem with Roland sweating? We all were. Oh no! That's horrible. Ugh. So we get to Miami, and it's 100% humidity. You walk out, it's like, oh, the airport's nice, and then it just hits you like this invisible wall of water, and you're automatically soaked. We met our handlers at the airport. They had rides coordinated for us, which has been kind of cool. They have people chauffeuring us around. Took us to the hotel, which is very nice, right here on South Beach. 2 pools, one on the rooftop, one at the pool that we're at right here, which is kind of exotic. And just been doing the con for the most part, walking around, trying to find good restaurants. Pretty much every woman is almost completely naked. Whether it's at the beach, whether it's just walking around the streets going to restaurants or the hotels, whether it's going to clubs or things like that. All these, well, that's a little different, but all the girls out here just don't, because I guess it's so hot, they just don't want to wear any clothes. No, we need to have you wearing clothes. We should get to some of the con stuff here and talk more about the trip throughout the show. Let's see what we have lined up for today. Paul McGann from Doctor Who and Luther and various other projects, so I'm going to be really excited about this. Max Hernandez, he had a big part in Walking Dead, but he was also in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Thor, Captain America 2, Winter Soldier. He's pretty much tied into the Marvel Universe there. The Last Ship on TNT. Joey Lauren Adams, who was a fixture in a few of the early Kevin Smith movies, was in the Married with Children spinoff. We'll talk to her about what's going on with Mallrats 2, and does she appear in Clerks 3? We talked to very legendary voice actor Dana Snyder from Aqua Teen Hunger Force, Code Monkeys. What are some of the other? Venture Brothers. Well, who was he in the Alchemist? Right. He's all over the place. So we'll talk to Dana Snyder in a little bit. Timac. Who's Timac, you're asking? You ever see the movie The Last Dragon? He was Bruce Leroy. So we'll talk to him a little bit later. Charlie Adler, another legendary voice guy. Emilie de Ravin, you know her from Lost, but she's also Belle in Once Upon a Time. We'll speak to her. But first, we're going to start off with an actor that you know from Reno 911, but you may or may not know that he's also an accomplished voice actor. He did the voice of the Taco Bell Chihuahua, if you remember that promotion. He was also the voice of Rocco from Rocco's Modern Life. There's a whole bunch of stuff that he did. All right, yes. Peter's boss at the Toy Factory. Now, here's the hard part, because you're going to notice as we go to stage here that I keep calling him Carlos. I never mention his last name because I don't know how to pronounce it. Alazraqui? Instead of Alazraqui? Okay. So, say it again. Okay. Carlos the guy from Reno 911 is coming up to join us on stage right now.
It's Erik Nagel at Florida Supercon in Miami Beach.
Hello, Florida. You guys Rocco's Modern Life fans?
Rocco's Modern Life will be doing a panel
With Tom Kenny and Charlie Adler. Some old school Rocco stuff happening, and
I love Rocco's Modern Life.
you got Reno 911 questions. I can answer those too.
Yeah.
But what's going on?
All right, let's start this off here for the radio. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. Well, you just heard the voices.
Yep.
Carlos, I don't think anybody doesn't know, well, at least in our age group, doesn't know Rocco's Modern Life. Most people would know you now from Reno 911.
Yeah, that was kind of the one that put me on the on-camera map. You know, before it was like, Yo quiero Taco Bell. And I got on, I got on freaking Hollywood Squares. And it was like Carlos Alazraqui for the block. And I'm like, what am I doing here? Viva Gorditas. It was so weird. And then 2000 came along and we auditioned for this sketch show, Tom Lennon, Ben Garant, and Carrie Kinney Silver. And it was called The Ugly Americans before Comedy Central had an animated show called Ugly Americans. Fox passed on it. We put together this thing. We're going to make fun of cops, go home and think about a character. I thought, I'm going to play kind of a Barney Fife a-hole prick. And I'm going to call him Garcia because my name is Carlos Jaime Alazraqui, and I always audition for Latino parts, but I was like, who's the white guy? So when I finally got a character, I thought, you know what? I'm going to turn it around. I'm going to flip it. I'm going to be white, but I'm going to name my character Garcia. And my roommate in college was a guy named Dan Garcia, so it's kind of an homage. So yeah, that was... Reno kind of put me back on like an on-camera map again, and that's been fun. But it's Garcia was a fun character to play, and I still see Jonesy. He was my African-American partner. Of course, I never said those words as Garcia. I'm in a mixed crowd now, so gotta be careful.
I remember when that show came out, I'm like, seeing, Thomas Lennon and Carrie Kinney and all that, I'm just like, these other guys aren't from the state. It's like all they do is just people from the state do the same shows over and over.
That's right. It was Ben and Tom and Carrie, and then the Michael Showalter and what's his name? He's a big director now, Dave.
David Wayne.
David Wayne, yeah, and of course they had Stella, their comedy group for a while. Michael Ian Black, and so it was really odd for those three to Carrie Kinney, Wendy McClendon-Covey, who was in the second pilot, Niecy Nash, and Cedric and I were not affiliated with the state. I was not even familiar with their work, and now I know it's really brilliant stuff. So to be picked by them was pretty cool. And I was just a stand-up comic, still do. We were talking about that, and doing voiceover. And I walked into this audition, and they said, "Yeah, we like these guys," and so got lucky.
How was Reno's molded per episode? Did they have an outline and then everyone kind of improv to get to the goal, or were there kind of scripted dialogue and then you could also riff with it?
There was an outline for the season. Like, here's going to be the season arc. Here's what we think we're going to happen. Like, for example, there was a season or a couple episode arc where Wendy and I got together. We show up at the morning briefing. We have each other's shirts on. We've slept with each other. There was a series arc where a small arc where the Mayor Hernandez, played by George Lopez, comes in to clean us up, but he's all corrupted and drug riddled. But they would come up with an idea that says Garcia Jones gets a commercial for "and the installation is free," and he loses the commercial. He's really sad, so he's sitting on a bench, and you got to cheer him up. Go. And so we just come up with a dialogue.
How long do you guys usually go?
We would do 25-minute takes, and you'd usually get it in about the first 4 minutes, but they just let it go in case you'd get some bonus features. One of my favorite ones was Chris Tallman, who's now on the Thundermans on Nickelodeon. Mm-hmm. He played our Klansman, and he was trying to light a cross on fire. And "Hey, Jimmy Jim, how you doing?" "Hey there, Gary. Listen, you can't be lighting crosses here on the lawn there." And it's like, "Why? Why not? I'm celebrating freedom and diversity." And of course, Jones is with me, the black officer, and that was one of the more fun ones. And they just let it run for half-hour take, and they were able to. If we did 2 takes like that, they could edit and mix and match, because that was the thing. We always wore the same uniforms, so as long as our suspect looked the same, you could mix and match several takes very easily. Because, the camera would go from here to here. It would pivot like real cops. As the seasons went on, we added a second camera so they could catch the jokes. It got a little bit more intricate. But at first, it was basically "Hey, you guys want to make fun of cops and suspects and grab a camera and shoot it and stuff? Yeah, that'll be fun." That's kind of how it was done.
I love in the first season, too, when you're blatantly taking scenes from cops where where a crackhead or somebody's running away and they're always trying to hide under a kiddie pool in the backyard.
Yeah.
And you guys are just looking at each other and you're like, I wonder where he could be. And you're kicking the pool over and there he is.
Your legs under the pool, man. Come on now. Toby Huss is a really great actor. He was on the series Carnival. And Toby was Big Mike. "Big Mike, what are you doing?" "I found oil in my front yard." "No, Big Mike, you dug up your septic tank and it's stinking up the neighborhood." And then they would let us riff. I came up with the idea that he stunk so much that we couldn't put him in the back of the squad car. We had to cuff him while he walked outside, and we drove 5 miles an hour, and we took him to the station. I came up with the idea 5th season that in the morning briefing room, we decided to get a hot buttered popcorn machine. And, of course, that drove everybody. Cedric came up with the idea about riding horses, so they would allow us to chip in ideas and incorporate them into the theme of the show. So
did you have that kind of input on Rocko's Modern Life as well? Because I feel like rewatching Rocko's Modern Life, it is probably the raunchiest cartoon next to Ren and Stimpy that was on Nickelodeon.
They're playing Spank the Monkey.
Yeah.
Ooh, Chunky Chicken. Yeah.
The Jackathon.
Yeah,
with the jackhammers. Yeah, there was a lot of adult humor.
There was a lot of innuendo. Yeah, the first season, before S&P got wind of it, and before they started to sort of advertise straight towards children, we got away because of Chris Falusi of Ren and Stimpy. We were kind of on their heels.
Yeah.
So we were allowed to be adult. Yeah. And then around the second season, it's you can't say hell anymore. It's HE double hockey sticks, and you can't say stupid. And we're like, what the?
That's not fair. We're being subversive. You're trying to, homogenize us.
Well, I love how Standards and Practice would say that you can't say these things, but then they kind of perfected the art with Rugrats was coming out right around the time that Rocko was about to go away. And if you watched Rugrats as a young person, it was one thing. But if you're the adult and watching it, you're hearing all these jokes and commentary in there. The kids aren't going to get it. It's right over their head, but it's they're getting away with that, but then they had a hard time with Rocko and Ren and Stimpy.
I know. It's innuendo over words usually gets through, gets under their radar for some reason. It's this is blatant, but you can't say this word. It doesn't make sense. Yeah. It's all how you package it, And now, Fairly Odd Parents, I'm currently working on. We got some new stuff, and we're getting away, it seems, with more stuff than we used to. We're just going for it.
I love Fairly Odd Parents.
Yes, Mr. Quacker, Timmy Turner Fairies.
I have all the DVDs, And as I've been going through, and the movies too, and you had Jay Leno as the Crimson Chin.
Oh yeah, the Crimson Chin. That's right. Yeah, Jay Leno. That's right.
But from where Ren and Stimpy and I'll say Rocco there coming out with just we're doing this crude humor because it's funny. It's not just to be crude, but it's actually funny. And then them pulling back, but then doing it submissively with the Rugrats and SpongeBob to a degree as well. But then to go to Fairly Odd Parents, where you guys go, well, we're going to go the other way.
Yeah.
Because it's animated like this, and then you make so many adult jokes in there. My favorite being there's one time Timmy's in the bathtub with the fairies, and Cosmo turns into this big ship in the bathtub, and he goes, "Look at me, I'm seaworthy." He goes, "Check out the size of my poop deck," and he hits the horn. Right? And then at the same moment, the father's walking across the bathroom in the hallway there, and he goes, "Geez, son, light a match." I'm like,
yeah.
Kids are hearing a fart joke, but as an adult, you're like, what is my kid watching?
Yeah. We did a big Crocker episode the other day, and there's some great, I don't even remember the lines because I'm so tired, but yeah, it's that kind of stuff we get away with. Because Cosmo's so innocent, and the dad can say stuff that's really.
Because they're oblivious.
Yeah. Ooh, Timmy!
If they were paying attention, I think you couldn't have said half the stuff that you guys get away with.
No, oh God, there's a lot of like, mother's my girlfriend. I'll never leave mother. It's this creepy Norman Bates relationship. Like Crocker's probably not straight. We're not sure, but he loves his cat, who he calls girlfriend.
And he has an erotic obsession of giving everybody an F.
Yes, F for fairies. F for friends. Human contact. Yeah, he's a pretty lonely guy who lives with his mom. It's kind of creepy. But
Standards and Practices just basically listens for key words. That's why all that stuff gets through.
Like balls.
Yeah, they're like, what?
No, throw me the balls, Timmy. I want to juggle. Oh, okay, that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you can't say, "Timmy, I want to juggle your balls."
You cannot say that.
Exactly.
It's all in the context.
It's all in the context. You got to be careful.
So the regular seasons for Fairly Odd Parents kind of stopped, but they've been bringing in specials and things. Like what I don't know what the schedule is.
We don't either. We show up for 6, we show up for 10. It's like Godfather 3. You think they're out? They keep pulling us back in.
Because I see stuff pop up on Amazon. I'm like, wait, maybe I missed that, so I'll go and buy it. And I go, I never saw this before.
I know. There's specials. I think we're doing 10 this time around or something like that. And it's always like, Butch is like, "Can I have a full season?" And they like give him the De Niro. They're like, "No, we'll give you a little bit. Couple episodes, just a little bit, tiny bit." So yeah, it's odd. We'll do 6, we'll do 10, we'll do a 2-hour special. They did a couple of live action specials. So there's no set order for ordering. They just know that Butch is sort of a golden cow for them. But they don't really want to full out SpongeBob it with him, where like you've got full seasons coming up. Because I think they're also afraid that you might burn out. Because there's times, and Tom Kenny will be here tomorrow, that you go through so many, you just start to lose sight of it, and you do need a break. And so it's kind of worked out fortuitously that we have gone in such a staggered schedule, because we can't wait to come back. We're only doing 4 more. We can put everything into it. Guess what? There's 6 more. Oh yeah,
Do you know what you just mentioned about Tom Kenny there, with him doing so much stuff, and being a voiceover talent, and a lot of times they're giving you some creative input or leeway to go. You feel it out. How would the character say this line, or what direction would they go in if you can get to where the story's going here? With him doing so much like that, does he ever get to the point, or did you ever at one point get to the point where you go, "Look, I'm just kind of burnt. You just tell me what you want, and I'm going to do it"?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I'm working. Charlie Adler's over there. We're right over here. Charlie Adler directs me on something called Wabbit on WB that's coming out, some new Looney Tunes stuff. Ooh. And you get to a point where you're like, "Just Charlie, just give me a line read, because I am washed out. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. I said it so many times." So yeah, you need that help. I did want to go back and say that we made an improv cartoon. I want you guys to check it out. It's on Mondo Media and/or on YouTube. It's called Off the Curb, and it features John DiMaggio, Cedric Yarborough, Gary Anthony Williams, Fred Tatasciore, Eric Bauza, and myself. And it's basically 4 black guys sitting at a table. Only 2 of them are black, because John DiMaggio and Fred Tatasciore are not. I play a Filipino waiter, and it's basically like Do the Right Thing, barber shop, where they're just talking about stuff. And the first one is about monsters, and it starts with, "It's like I said last time, Frankenstein will whoop Dracula's ass." And then it just goes from there. But we've got 5 episodes. It's called Off the Curb, and that's totally improv. We did like 57-minute takes. My wife sound edited them down to 3 minutes, and they're all pretty cool. And that's something where you don't get burned out because you're just throwing it out there, you're spitballing, and you're playing off each other. And it's really a kind of a cool way to make a cartoon. But when you are doing scripted stuff, yes, you get so burned out. You're like, I don't even know how to line read this anymore. Like Butch Hartman is so hands-on. He'll do a Cosmo line and like, no, say it like this, Timmy, if you don't give it to me, I get really mad. And then he'll go, and Carlos, when you do Crocker, go, I can't take it anymore, mother, I'm out of here. So he'll be able to do each character pretty well and get you to where you need to go if you're lost, if that makes sense.
So as a person who's done like both voice acting and actual acting, well, not saying voice acting isn't, but which do you prefer? Because I saw the documentary, I Know That Voice, that John DiMaggio did. It was fantastic, and it kind of made me want to be a voice actor, even though I don't have a good voice.
It's relative to the experience. We got to do 2 Happy Feets with Robin Williams and Elijah Wood in the room with us, and Hank Azaria on the second one, and so you're having a blast, and it's amazing. Cut to you're doing a video game where you're chewing your throat out and you're by yourself and you're like, I'm not having fun. Reno 911, I'm with Cedric Yarborough and Tom Lennon, and Kenny Rogers is riding with me in the front seat. I can't believe I'm doing this. Cut to me in the trailer. When are they going to use me today? I got here at 5 in the morning and it's already 3 in the afternoon. So it's relative to how the day is going, but they're equally as fun. But I do have to say, not just because we're doing the panel,
Rocco was my favorite character ever. Because he was so sweet. I didn't know what
I was doing, and it was just this pure, fun energy coming off Joe Murray. Well, the studio didn't seem to be so invasive, and so that experience in terms of voiceover, even over Fairly Odd Parents and even over Happy Feet and some Pixar stuff, still has been the most joyous one for me. Just a great group of people, Doug Lawrence, Tom Kinney, and Charlie. That energy, it's because it's your first one. It's kind of like the first girlfriend thing, popping your cherry in animation. And then Reno on camera, I did a Bones recently. I've done a couple of smaller things on camera, but Reno is just like, again, no overhead. Go out there, put on a cop uniform, turn the camera on in the back of the car, make up stuff. That it doesn't get any better than that.
So who do we have to petition to get more Rocko's Modern Life?
Nickelodeon. It would take a little bit of effort to drag Joe Murray back out into that world because he sort of clashed with it. It was hard to, and a lot of people will tell you, even Steve Hillenburg, after doing many seasons of SpongeBob, to keep churning them out at a rate that the studios want them is hard. And so creatively, you're not as at liberty to do how you want to make a show, and so it gets tough. But I would love to see more Roccos, and I think people would. Somebody talked to me about, wouldn't it be neat to have a SpongeBob crossover, like,
Hey, Rocco. Oh, hello. How are you, SpongeBob? Would you make me a Krabby Patty? Sure, pal.
It'd be kind of cool.
It's all like
Heifer meeting Patrick.
That'd be amazing.
Ooh, Patrick, what's up? You're a cow. That would be a cool episode.
One of my favorite things from Rocco wasn't even the jokes. It was just the cadence of Rocco, where Heifer would do something or something would be going wrong, and he would just sit there and go, "No, Heifer." And that was it. Yeah. That was just the line. No, and you're like, that is so funny. He has no tolerance.
My favorite episode, and I don't remember what it is. You guys probably know it. He's digging through toys in the garage, and he picks up Mr. Onionhead, and it's Nick Nolte. I did it. Hey, Rocco, don't you remember me? I'm Mr. Onionhead, your favorite childhood toy. And I go,
I love you, Mr. Onionhead.
That's my favorite line ever.
Why do you think that they didn't give such a push? I mean, obviously, you said season 2 they started to clamp down a little bit on the dialogue and the direction the show was going. But why do you think Nickelodeon Nickelodeon and Disney are notorious for product lines and pretty much putting out everything that they possibly can with a logo on it? Why do you think they didn't really give that big of a push for Rocco, but then Doug had stuff, then Rugrats had stuff, everything else since then all had this huge push?
I think it was a relationship between what Joe Murray wanted to approve and put out there and what Nickelodeon wanted. I think that might have been a part of it. I could be second guessing that. And the model back then was to make 4 seasons of something, get it out, put the next one in for merchandise. And so it's too bad because I think Rocco was really, and same with Chris Falusi. Obviously, he got replaced by he was my neighbor, Bob. I forget Bob's last name. He was replaced by Chris Falusi, who was replaced for pretty much the same thing. You have an artistic vision. It aligns with what we were just talking about. They don't want to put out certain merchandise. They want to make a cartoon, and Nickelodeon saying, no, we want 4 of this, get the next one in, 4 the new one, get another one in. And so it becomes a machine. And SpongeBob seemed to break that mold, and Fairly OddParents saying, we have to lock on to. But even Fairly OddParents doesn't do the merchandise that SpongeBob does.
That was my next thing, because I don't see a lot. That's another show I love, and I don't see a lot of that out there. You'll see the occasional little the Nicktoons figures that come in a pack, but you're never seeing like the vinyl toys or the figures or the T-shirts and things like that.
It's weird because Timmy, for the most part, played by Tara Strong, is really kind of real. I mean, Cosmo and Wanda are out there, and Mr. Crocker are. And the thing about SpongeBob and Patrick is they're so accentuated and livable, breathable characters. I think they lend themselves more to.
He's a square guy with a really.
It's
Timmy's just like, it's Timmy Turner. Come on, Dad. What am I doing?
He's more real, so it doesn't really lend itself, I think, as much to toys. But that's my theory.
I think if a vinyl line picked it up, maybe like a Kid Robot or Titan or something like that.
Yeah.
If you put them out there with the blind box stuff, I think that would really rejuvenate the series and give more of a kick in the ass to get Nickelodeon to do more on a regular basis. Not that from what you're doing, but like you said, they're not committing to full seasons anymore.
Yeah, and I don't know why. It's Butch is just a madman. He's super creative. It would be nice to see that. So
it'd be nice. There's a couple of Rocco toys out there too. I have.
I don't know if they ever talk though.
I think animation in general, though, on Nickelodeon seems to be a little dead right now.
It's different. You know, they have Breadwinners coming out, Sunshine Greg. They got a couple of new shows coming out. It's a different style. It's more frenetic. It's not. There's nothing that really matches the sweetness of Rocco, like you said, his cadence. Like,
oh my, hello, Mrs. Bighead. Like, oh baby, oh baby, oh baby. Rocco dear, is that you? Mrs. Bighead?
There's nothing that... He was like the eye of the hurricane. Every lead character tends to be really frenetic and out there. Even Timmy, while he's real, is pretty out there. Fairly OddParents is... Hey, old Timmy! The Terry's! You're like, whoa, okay. This is on 11. So...
You never get used to watching anybody do the voices for the things that you love.
You never do. It's really weird.
It's uncomfortable at first, and then you're like, I can't make that connection that this guy is doing that character.
It doesn't work. It's just so strange. How's that guy doing that? It's coming out of his voice. You'd never know it's him.
Another one of something else.
Yo, what's up? Yes, Mr. White.
That's a pretty good Aaron.
What?
Paul.
Yes. Cooking. Yes, we're cooking. What?
So why don't you bring that into Fairly OddParents?
I should.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Fairly Bad, something like that.
Yeah, obviously, yeah. We love hanging out with the voiceover guys. I know that voice. Obviously, Ross Marquand and Jim Meskimen doing the impression guys, doing some great work. Eric Bauza, new kid on the block, doing some good stuff. Tom Kenny, Charlie, Roger Craig Smith, who was up here earlier, Dana Snyder. It's so cool to watch voiceover actors work. Ray Delisle, Tara Strong. I could go on and on. It's pretty cool to watch characters that you associate with animated characters come out of somebody's throat, and you're like, oh my God, you're the guy. It's a cool world to be a part of.
Well, with Harry Shearer leaving The Simpsons, any chances you get to take over one of his characters?
Revenge is a dish best served cold, Smithers.
Can you do an excellent?
Huh?
Can you do excellent?
Excellent. That's one of those ones where you respect the craft of Harry Shearer, and I would only do it at gunpoint or pitchfork. If they absolutely said, yes, come in, he can't be replaced. You can approximate him. We do sound-alike work in Hollywood, for stars, for stuffed dolls and toys, because the stars can't always do it. And we try to approximate what they do, but nobody could do what Harry's going to bring to it. We can copy it, but it's going to be a lithograph, So, but if I have the opportunity and it's on the up and up and it's quote unquote okay to do it, I would. Otherwise, I have solidarity for a voice guy. But it appears that it's not over money or anything. He just doesn't want to do it anymore. If that's the case, I would definitely audition. But I would have to make 100% sure.
But don't you think he should have said that then? Because what he said publicly was that he wanted to do other projects while the time being committed to doing the voice work. But I've talked to Al Jean, and then I saw Hank Azaria posted out into that they said that they always had the time and the flexibility to do other things. Just, here's the time you got to record for The Simpsons.
Right.
You can still commit to your other projects.
Right.
But Harry only publicly said that that was the issue. But doesn't it always mean that it comes down to money?
Who knows? It usually does, but I don't have enough knowledge to say in this case. And oftentimes it does. When an actor is not wanting to continue a role, it's usually over negotiations. And so it's hard to step in. It's to take somebody's job. It's not like being a scab and you're taking a union job, but it's like you definitely want to hear from the actor themselves that, like, you know what, dude, I'm done. All power to you. Please go audition for this. That's practically the words that have to come out of an actor's mouth for me to do something like that. But so when it's on the fence, it's like, nope, I don't want to touch it. I just don't want to be that person. So,
well, in the last week, Hank Azaria put out a post.
Hey, Simpson.
He posted that he doesn't believe it's completely done. He thinks that Harry will come back.
I think so.
And he says, and if God forbid it doesn't, he's like, we'll take it from there. But they have really strong feelings that Harry's going to come back.
I would hope so. You have to. You can't replace. You can't replace it. You can approximate.
Because he's what, like 26 characters?
Yeah.
He's
That's ridiculous.
Principal Skinner and all that kind of stuff.
We just lost Edna Krabappel. We can't lose Harry Shearer.
Yes. Cannot lose that.
And also the solidarity with the voice people, because it's such a small yet close community, does ring true. Because when the Harry Shearer thing happened, we reached out to John DiMaggio, Maurice LaMarche, Billy West, who we've had on the show a few times, and all of them are like, I really just don't want to comment on that right now. And he's like, I'll talk about other things, but I really just don't want to say anything about that. So we went, okay, we respected that. But I've noticed that all the voice guys who you'd want to go to, it's like, what do you think? Or is this an opportunity for you? And nobody would say anything.
Yeah, and honestly, I did comment about it because I would honestly say we would think about that. That could be an opportunity, but I think I would speak for those other actors that didn't comment that I would reiterate what I said. They would probably feel the same way. And no, unless Harry himself said, I do not want to do this, please go audition, they would not do it.
Right. He did not say that he didn't want to do it, that it wasn't that he was done doing this voice for 26 years. He said it was over scheduling and in free time for doing other projects.
Yeah.
So that was his official statement, and that's pretty much all basically you can go on, not knowing if that is the real story or not.
Then, you stay away. You don't take that free dress that Robert De Niro's pointing to around the corner in Goodfellas. No. Yeah. Go ahead. It's a free job. It's around the corner. Harry Shearer wants to give you his job. It's around the corner. Just go around the corner. Really? Harry Shearer? Yeah, around the corner. And you just keep walking. Like,
if I could touch back on Reno 911 real quick. One thing I was amazed that you guys didn't do, because originally, you started off as a spoof on Cops, but made it your own and went into all these weird, wild directions. But one of the things I thought you were definitely going to do, and you didn't, was once the series was over, they started releasing the seasons on DVD for Reno. But I thought you guys were going to mimic like the Too Hot for TV Cop DVD specials that they used to put out, like the infomercials. So if you did one about the worst criminals or the best guests, or like you said, you do 25-minute takes and only 3 minutes get used. All the outtakes and all that stuff putting together in the specialty DVDs, I would have thought the sales went through the roof.
There's so much that you never saw. One of the favorite things, because I tended to, what's his name? Ricky Gervais would call it corpsing. I would laugh so much and ruin takes. One of the best things we ever did is Jones and Garcia get a new DVD player in the car, and it's to research crimes and criminals. But of course, they go to an adult DVD store and buy what they think is a porn, and it's Tie Me Up, Tie Me Down. No, it's the one with Antonio Banderas, where he ties up the actress and ties her to a bed. And it's not a porn, but our characters think it's a porn, but the movie's in Spanish because it's from Spain. So there's an elderly Mexican gentleman just standing innocently on the curb, and we pull him in. Get in the car, you're under arrest. He's like, ¿Por qué? We need you to translate this. What's he saying? And then he translates the story, and he's like, he is in love with this woman. He does not want to scare her, but she does not trust him, and she wants to run. And he's in the back, and he goes, that bitch! And every time he said bitch, I just lost it. And so that sketch was ruined and never seen by anybody. But if you guys saw the outtake of that, it's funnier. And if you've seen Reno, you've seen the outtake with me and Wendy McClendon Covey, she's going to have a baby, although it's a cyst. And we're wooing to be her husband, and we go to a restaurant, and I'll say, I'll take the chicken quesadillas and the vegetarian tacos, and she'll have something of less than or equal value. And we couldn't get through that. We had to do like 10 takes. And that was one of the funniest outtakes for me. But that one where we picked up the Latino guy, beach! If you ever see that, it's funnier. And we didn't do that. We had so much stuff that we could have compiled into, holy crap, you'll never guess what happened here. Or somebody getting conked by a prop, or getting bumped by a car, or saying the wrong thing, clothes coming out, dangles, equipment coming out, boing, 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 boing. All that kind of stuff happened. And we would have had a wonderful compilation tape. It's all there.
There's still time to do it, because if they did it and then put it up like on iTunes or Amazon Prime or something, or even on Netflix as a special, it would go through the roof.
I say recreate it live.
Yes.
Yeah.
When the show was ending, what did you guys walk off with as far as props or costumes?
Actually, we got some props and costumes. There was a sheriff running for LA County Sheriff, and they had the costumes for us, and they said keep them. So I've still got them.
All right.
Every once in a while I'll put it on.
Was that a real mustache or a prop mustache?
A real mustache only for the movie, because it was an HD, and a prop mustache for the show.
Okay.
Because I don't care what the hell I look like on TV. So, yeah.
What do you think about, since they're making Super Troopers 2, what do you think about if for some reason they just drive past and there's Carlos as doing a cameo?
Hey, if they want to, I'm fine. Hey, y'all need another sheriff? Yeah. Because I died in the last show, so I believe in reincarnation. I'm a Buddhist.
Yeah. The reason why I asked about what you guys take, because sometimes people, when they're on these iconic series or movies and stuff, and sometimes there's specific things that they wanted and the studio wouldn't let them take. Other times they never thought at the time to take anything and bring back. Why I was asking was because if Thomas Lennon didn't take the dangle shorts...
Yeah, what are you going to do with them?
I haven't seen a show in a long time that has something that would be worthy of being placed up in the Smithsonian next to Archie Bunker's chair, Fonzie's jacket, dangle shorts.
Dangle shorts and Terry shorts, Nick Swartzen shorts. The Terry had the Terry shorts.
And the bag of oranges.
And the bag of oranges. And maybe Garcia's mustache. I'm giving out high fives and handing out oranges. No, you're not, Terry. You're doing hand jobs.
We're running out of time, but obviously, visually, 911, Reno 911 is what people would recognize you from. Yeah. But when you're doing these cons and things like that, what do people come up and speak to you the most? What is the project that sticks out the most for everybody?
Oh, man, that is a hard one. Reno's right up there. People still like the Taco Bell dog. Rocco's iconic for cons because it has such a long demographic, little kids to adults. So Rocco's pretty popular. I had 3 Mr. Crockers come to my booth, all dressed as Mr. Crocker. So that's pretty up there, too. I would have to say those 3 or 4. Mr. Weed from a Family Guy, too. Peter, you're fired. I shall call this Eduardo. That's always good, too. So it kind of runs the gamut. But Reno's up there for sure.
Last questions, anybody? All right, well, I have one then.
Yep.
Favorite guest appearance on Reno 911? Because there's been a lot of comics, a lot of actors that showed up there. I know you said Toby Huss.
Yeah, golly. That I had fun. In a weird way, just because I was alone with him in a car and they turned the camera on, they said drive around, it was Kenny Rogers. And he was really funny and kind, and it was surreal. And that was just one of my favorite things to do with Kenny Rogers. And I'd have to go back through the seasons, but he was awesome.
Did he have the work done at that time?
No, pre-work.
Okay, because if you saw him like he did Conan or The Tonight Show not too long ago, you look at him, he looks like a Yankee Candle.
If you get that reference, but
his chicken was delicious too.
Yeah. When I leave, I'll think of some other guests, but Kenny Rogers sticks out for sure. He was great.
All right, well, we'll leave on that there. Carlos, thank you so much. What's your Twitter?
At Carlos Alazraqui. I'm also on Facebook and rebuilding my website, carlosalazraqui.com. And look for me in Bordertown next year, 2016. That's a new Seth MacFarlane produced show. I play Plácido and El Coyote. So that's going to be cool. And I'm in Inside Out. I play the Brazilian helicopter pilot. Come, fly with me, Gatinha. And I play Fear Inside the Dad's Head. The foot is down, the foot is down. So that's what I'm doing right now.
Carlos Alazraqui, thank you so much. And come back next time you're around.
I will. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Welcome back to the program. My name is Erik Nagel, and joining me is Giddles. Mano G did not make this trip, which sadly I wish he could. He would have had a really great time, but he had other family business that he had to attend to. So, lots of expensive Arrow merch. Maybe some that I purchased for him. I don't know. But we'll surprise him with that later. We are live in Miami Beach, South Beach to be more specific. The Yacht District. Right near Hammocktown. Oh, yes. Yeah, I didn't see any of the yachts. I have to go down by the beach actually and enjoy myself. I have yet to go to the beach down here. We've been down here for, 4 days? Just so much to do with the con, cutting up audio and edits and interviews and coordinating things and what have you. But you guys have had a good time. You guys were down at the beach. Roland went down and for some reason early in the morning decided he needed to buy Cuban cigars. Well, apparently you did, and I guess at one point Roland is telling me my shoes and socks are wet. I'm like, you're sweating that bad? And he goes, no, I walked into the ocean. And I said, why did you walk into the ocean? So then he proceeds to tell me that you guys were on the beach, you were walking, and on South Beach in Miami, a lot of half-naked to naked girls. So Roland was concentrating on that and not watching where he was walking, and as he's staring at some girls, walked into the ocean. But then he went to the con that day. He didn't go and dry out his shoes, change socks. He just went as is. Roland is a trooper. Speaking of the con, let's go back to the con here. We have a lot to get to for this show. Who's up next? Oh, coming to the stage live with us in just a moment is Max Hernandez. He had a bit part in Walking Dead. He's dead. Like everybody in Walking Dead, he's dead. All right. And then he moved on. He's integrated with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. in a handful of the Marvel movies and might be in some of the movies still yet to come. And then he has a new series on TNT called The Last Ship, which he'll explain in just a few minutes. I don't think I said minutes right. I think I kind of blurred the word or half finished it. In just a few minutes. Actually, it's going to happen right now that we're going on stage. Let's talk to Max Hernandez.
It's Erik Nagel at Florida SuperCon in Miami Beach.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome to the show right now. You've seen this guy. You probably remember, even though it was a small character in Walking Dead, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is, of course, of how I know him, and he has a brand new series on TNT called The Last Ship. And we'll
we
get
just
to
started
that.
season 2, just started, yeah.
Seen the poster
Max
before.
Hernandez is here, and we couldn't be happier to talk to you.
Thank you.
I'm going to really get into the Marvel world for a second
Sure.
here. But Giddles is a big Walking Dead fan.
Love Walking
As soon as he saw you, the first thing he goes, he was a cop on Walking Dead. He was all excited.
Sergeant Bob
Yeah.
Lamson, yeah.
It was like a minor role, but it was cool. Like, what was it like working on the show? Was it fun?
It was great because it was also sort of like a moral line that got crossed at that point.
Yep.
Because it's kind of where you learn that Rick can't come back. Like he's crossed that line when he killed another cop.
Yep.
That line, he can never go back to the Rick that was before. So yeah, it was good. It was great. It was a great experience. It was. I was doing a movie at the same time, and I was flying from New Mexico to Atlanta to Georgia to shoot this, and it was just nice because it was like the worlds were completely different, and you go do something like that.
And you had a really kind of brutal like death on the show.
It's a brutal, yeah.
It was pretty badass. Like when it happens, you're like, wow, that came out of nowhere.
Yeah,
Good job, Rick.
God bless stunt guys.
Yeah.
Because it was he hits him with his car and he goes flying and he ends up with a broken back and
shoots him.
And then shoots him in the head and says, "Shut up."
And all the
it's
fans
pretty
were
great.
like, for Rick, they were like, finally, Rick's like getting tough.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
they're like, oh, poor Bob.
Yeah, I know. I was like, poor Bob. I got there. They were like, "Yeah, we love having you on the show." I'm like, "Yeah, it's fantastic." And I read the next episode. I was like, "Oh, so you were kind of like me being on the show, but not that
And he
much."
gets rushed to the morgue.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, he can't pull me in the car. He can't keep me alive. So, but yeah, it was a lot of fun.
That's awesome.
How much of the death scene were you actually involved? Because obviously there were stunt guys involved.
Well, like being chased by the car, obviously not being hit. No one was actually hit. We shot it in, special effects.
It'd be great if they did and said, "Look, you're looking at the camera when we did it."
Yeah, let's just
Back
do it.
to position one, get the car ready.
My stunt guy did it. It took him more than one try to get that hit down perfectly, and he's like pulled with wires and landing on a mat that looks like cement,
asphalt.
Yeah, it looked when you looked at it, you was like, is that real? But it was pretty brutal. It was pretty brutal, and we shot it actually fairly quickly. We shot it within a day.
That's cool.
We shot that part. Yeah, it was pretty intense. Yeah.
So, I was gonna say you're on like the row of all the characters from Walking Dead who didn't seem to last very long.
Yes, yeah.
You're on like death row.
About to be moved to the wall where people live.
It's convenient for the fans to come out for the con, but for all you guys, like, this is a bit humiliating.
No, you know what? To me, I got no problem with it because it's like I was a fan of the show before I did it. And then just between that and between the Marvel stuff, like it's just like to me, I love because I'm a fanboy too, so I love coming out to stuff like this too. You know
what it's becoming when you're getting killed off of Walking Dead. It's becoming that club that most people had when they said they did their Law and Order.
Yeah,
because it's been on forever. And like, what did you do in your Law and Order?
I know.
It's like, were you a rapist? Were you a child toucher? How did they kill you off? Did you go to jail?
Well, what's funny is that when you walk into the trailer for Walking Dead, there's a sign above the door that says "Welcome to the Walking Dead," where everybody dies.
Yeah,
and everyone knows that. Everyone knows that they walk through that, and you can be, limited. I'm very good friends with Lawrence Gilliard, who played Bob.
Oh yeah,
and I mean he bit it like maybe like 2 weeks or 2 weeks before that. So he did that, and then Chad Coleman, got it later. And then I shot with Tyler where we were shooting our stuff together. His stuff was coming down the line. So, I mean, that sign when you walk through that trailer
it's real.
It's a real thing. It's a real thing.
It's like going through
Scott
the gates.
Wilson, it was real for everybody. It's going to be, it's real for Beth. It's real, so it happens for everyone.
If we can jump off Walking Dead for a second, but it still kind of tie in a little bit. You have a project that's coming out in the fall, a movie called
Sicario,
with John Bernthal.
With John
another person who was killed off The Walking Dead.
With another guy. Yeah, Sicario. I'm excited about it. Got a 7-minute standing ovation at Cannes. It's with Emily Blunt, Benicio del Toro, Josh Brolin, John Bernthal.
You don't even at this point. You don't even need to read the bio for the movie because you just see the cast and go, I'm going to see that movie.
It's pretty intense. It's an amazing movie. The trailer just came out.
Mexican Hitman? What? I'm there.
Yeah, exactly. It's pretty intense, and it's a border drama, and it's all about sort of like the drug wars and like how people get caught up in it, and how the American side deals with it, and how the Mexican side deals with it. It's pretty interesting.
Sounds awesome,
and it's very different how one side deals with it than how the other side deals with it, which is where you get Sicario.
Well, when I read that, I was looking through it, I'm like, John Brown, I'm like, and all I saw was the first line, Mexican Hitman, and I said, done. I'm not going to read the rest. I'm not going to watch any reviews or trailers. I'm going to see this for myself.
And it is really, really, it's a really good thriller. It's a lot of action, a lot more than we thought. When we signed on to it, we thought it was going to be more like sort of a drama, but there is so much stuff that happens in this movie, you're going to be blown away. Really blown away.
Of course, I got to talk to you about your role in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Mm-hmm.
Even though you were only in a handful of episodes, your character also appeared in a few of the movies.
Yeah.
Because you're in Thor, you're in Winter Soldier with Captain America 2, and Avengers.
Yeah, and also the short. My character has actually been in the most crossover because I also did the one-shots, the extras, the bonus material that's on the DVDs as well. So between the TV show and the movies and the shorts that we shot, I think Agent Sitwell's appeared the most in the Marvel Universe in terms of that stuff.
Do you ever rub that in in Clark
Gregg's face?
Clark Gregg's face?
No, because Clark and I when we shoot The Last Ship, we shoot on the same lot as Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So I run into everyone from S.H.I.E.L.D. all the time, and they're like looking at me like, what, another show? Like, another show? How many shows are you on? And then I do another show called Hand of God with Ron Perlman for Amazon. We just wrapped on it.
When does that come out?
It comes out in September as well. It's going to be on Amazon Prime.
All 13 episodes straight out?
All 10.
10 episodes.
Yeah, 10 episodes. Yeah, with Dana Delaney, Ron Perlman, Garrett Dillahunt. Really great cast. My best friend in the world, Andre Royo, who's played Bubbles on The Wire.
Oh, yeah.
Also,
man, I love Bubbles.
Also that he plays the chief of police. I play the chief of police. He plays the mayor. Ron plays the judge in a kind of morally ambiguous kind of town. And
Andre's going around, this is The Wire how I envisioned it.
Exactly. Yeah, he's like, I'm running it here. Yeah. I'm absolutely running it here. So, yeah, so I got 3 shows, all of which shoot on the same lot. And so Clark sees me. Clark is like, you're like on everything. I can't compete with how many shows that you've been on. So,
do you make an appearance in the next season?
I don't know.
That means he knows, and he's just not going to tell us.
Well, I don't know. I
don't think he knows, man.
I genuinely
he may
don't
not know.
I know very little when it comes to the Marvel Universe because that's exactly how the Marvel Universe likes to keep you completely in the dark. I'd love to go back to see what they. I'm interested in seeing what they do.
I think if you show up in another 2 episodes on the TV show and at least one more movie, you qualify for your own action figure.
Oh, I have my own action figure. I have my own bobblehead. I have my own, the mini mates?
Oh, yeah.
My own little mini mates. Yeah, so I'm covered. Now if I get a last ship and a Hand of God bobblehead, I'll be good.
You've got your own figure. There's nothing else.
Just keep the face the same. All I got to do is swap out the bodies on the shows.
But you've hit that level of celebrity where you have your own figure now.
I know.
There's nothing left for you.
I sent it. It was funny. My grandmother. We sent one to my grandmother. My grandmother got it in the mail and was like, "What is this?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, it's a thing for this movie that he did." Oh, okay.
This looks nothing like him.
And it's like, but it goes onto the shelf of curiosities that every grandmother has. Yeah. It's like
knickknacks,
invitations from weddings, where the people are now divorced.
Hummels.
Like it's everything. Like every little.
Is she at least proud of it?
Huh?
She proud of it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely.
I was going to say, I'd hate that you had the grandmother that goes, "That's my grandson."
No,
he claims it's him.
She puts it up on the shelf, and
does she have your headshot framed in her hallway?
She actually does. I think she has a production still from Thor. I think she has a Thor production still where Clark and I are looking at the Destroyer, and I think that's the picture she has. So not like a first communion picture or a graduation picture. It's a picture. It's a still
of you in
Thor.
A fictional world.
Yes, exactly. Which clearly is more real to her than my communion.
Since your character has not been killed off, or at least written off of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., you do have to then at some point keep your schedule open if they decide to bring you back for something like that. When you were starting all of this and then moving off the TV show into the movies and what have you, how difficult was it scheduling all your other projects when you had to kind of keep it open for Marvel?
The movies came first for the Marvel stuff because I started in Thor, and then we did a short called Item 47, which is on the Avengers Blu-ray, and that's the idea that Bob Iger, who's the head of Disney, saw that and said, "Why isn't this a show?" And that's how Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. happened. So we did the short as myself, Titus Welliver. Myself, Titus Welliver, Jesse Bradford, and Lizzie Kaplan. We were in this short together, and that's what Disney saw, and they were like, "This is what there should be a S.H.I.E.L.D. show. This is what it is." And then ended up Joss ended up marrying Clark into that kind of world, bringing him back and marrying him into that world. But I was already doing another show called The Americans.
Oh, yeah.
On FX,
so I was doing The Americans, and I was on the first season of The Americans, and then I went out of that to do Captain America. So this all kind of happened, and Marvel I don't have an exclusive with them, so they just call me and say, "Hey, can you do this?" And then I come in and we work. We make it work.
Because that's what I was curious about, because they're so their attention to detail and storyline is really so thorough, and I mean when they can release their whole storyline 10 years in advance, saying at this point,
and that's what they want to show you,
right?
That's what they want to show you because they've got things way in the future.
I just imagine they're going to say, "Look, we can't really explain too much, but you just shot this part here on S.H.I.E.L.D. for now. Next summer, we're going to need at least 6 weeks of your time because we're going to put you in the movie."
That's basically what they've done with me. They've been they'll call me and be like, "Hey, what are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm doing this thing. And they'll be like, "We're thinking maybe we'll do something next year." I'm like, "All right."
So they give you enough notice so you can
work
do other things.
So I'm like, when are you going to do it? And then we kind of get a rough idea, and they go from there.
They send you a text a week before. They're like, "Hey, you got to be here."
No, I get a weird phone number that is 4 numbers in a letter. You've never seen that happen, but it's Marvel and Disney has made that when you pop it up, I'm like, that's Marvel.
It's a bat phone.
Yeah, it's a bat phone, and then it's you're going to be called to go do something somewhere. In America or somewhere else.
It's they need me, and then you go and change into one of your many different outfits depending on the show.
Put the glasses back on, put the suit back on, and hope it fits.
Let's move on to your current project that you're working on right now, The Last Ship. It's on TNT.
Yeah.
The new season started on June 21st, but it's on Sunday.
This past Sunday,
at 9 p.m.
Yeah. This past Sunday was the first episode.
I didn't know about the first season. Usually I'll know of shows. I'm like, I didn't get a chance to watch that yet.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that this was the second season. When I saw the trailer for it, I was just, oh my God, how did I have
we got a lot of really good people on the show, especially this year, too. Just really great. Basically, I mean, the world, 80% of the world's population has been knocked out by this virus. It's rampage, this epidemic that's cut everyone out. We are part of the last naval flotilla in the world. We were sent to do some like scientific research up in Antarctica. So we were completely out of radio contact. When we come back in radio contact 4 months later, there's no one there. There's no president. There's no command structure. There's no governments. It's just people are dying, and the people who are living are kind of like, very, very similar to The Walking Dead. Factions start building. The little factions start building, and then we have had the scientists who've been looking for the cure the entire time. So there's some animosity between us and the scientists because we could have warned our families. We could have told people like, yo, go into hiding. Go somewhere, lock yourself up in a mountain, and don't come out for like we could have done that, and we weren't given the option. So even on the ship in the first season, especially, we don't trust them. We really don't. And then during the course of the first season, we find out what's really happening in the world and how we are going to basically be the beacon of light. We're going to be the only chance that the world has to cure this. And so season 1 ends very like you don't know what's happening. The ship is trying to be taken over by other people, and that's kind of how we left it. And then season 2 picks up literally from the minute where the first season ends. So if you watch the first season, or if you just start the second season, it's a good thing. You'll quickly be caught up. You'll quickly be caught up. But we're very proud of it. We shot on an active naval destroyer down in San Diego.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. The Navy is incredibly generous, and they're like involved in every process. And
that was something I was going to ask you as far as the military involvement, because it's very thorough.
Yeah.
From the stuff that I've seen, as attention to detail.
Yeah.
All the way down to the uniforms. The things placed in the right.
Well,
positions.
we have our consultants are directly from the Navy. A big shout out to Lieutenant Chad Dulick, who's our communications person, who's basically with us, and he looks us over. That's right. That's wrong. That wouldn't be like that. He wouldn't wear that like that. That group and that group would not be together. Down from the top all the way down the bottom. The most minute things, like I didn't even know this. There's something called Quiet 1, Quiet 2, where you can't wear shoes. You got to take your shoes off and walk around in socks in the ship, because if someone's trying to pick you up on radar,
they can hear that.
So people have to literally take their shoes off to walk around. And there's a lot of things like that we don't know as civilians that happen in the Navy, that we've really, like, even to the way we salute, how we wear our everything. It's a love letter to the Navy, and you know what? The Navy deserves it. So we're really proud of it. We're really proud to be a part of that.
Even though the storyline and the world that it's based in is obviously fictitious.
Yeah.
When it comes to doing something that has any kind of involvement with the military, you eventually will get people who have served, and they will say that's completely wrong, or this is a disgrace, or things like that.
Yeah.
Everything I've seen and from what you've been explaining has been pretty, accurate as far as the consulting and everything you're doing. And I think it's doing, you're not doing a disservice to the military. But has there been any kind of complaints from servicemen or something like that?
No, not at all.
Nothing.
Not at all. There's been no complaints. We made it a point where, down to the way we wear our pants, down to our belt buckles, everything is exactly it. And if we ever have a doubt, we go, Chad, and he'll come over and we like, is this right? Would I salute that way? What would he do to me? Would he salute me walking? Like all that kind of stuff to make it real. We know it's a sci-fi kind of, post-apocalyptic, virus show.
Right.
So we know that stuff is the make-believe stuff, but this is the real stuff. And we're trying to keep order in a world where there is no order. So we feel that we can do that by, really paying attention to the Navy stuff, to the just, dotting our I's, crossing our T's, and we've had no complaints from active servicemen at all. People really love the show, people really do.
That's awesome. Definitely check it out.
Yeah, it's good. It's on TNT Sunday nights.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, as a viewer, I really enjoy shows that go into depth with detail like that and try and keep things, like, to the T. Like, I really enjoy that.
Because you know what it is? Because now we're so savvy as viewers, any little thing will bring us out. Any little thing will pull us out. You're like, that wouldn't happen. That would not happen. Like
and
that's
it spreads so fast on social media
Absolutely.
too. Someone will be like, "Oh, his shoe wouldn't be buckled like that."
He's wearing a Gilligan's hat.
Yeah, what is that? That's wrong.
Well, it's probably because they have the guy on set, Cliff or Clark.
Chad Dulac. Yeah, Lieutenant Chad Dulac.
Lieutenant Chad.
Who's retiring in August from he's 20 some odd years in the Navy.
But it's probably because he's there. They don't get complaints because they do it right.
and we will have a group. And what's great about Chad is he'll bring active officers with him to set. And they usually, say Hail Hydra.
How intense is that?
You know what I mean? Like, that's the first thing they say is like, Hail Hydra. I just watched you on the ship. They'll be like that.
How intense is that to have the guys who do this for a living coming on set and you're trying to portray what they do and knowing that, like, I can't do half the shit that these gentlemen do.
Yeah, it's tough because I play a corpsman. I play the doctor on the ship. So what's great what the show has done too is they've paired us up with the people that we portray basically. We had a sit down where we sat across from the people who the real corpsman, the real XO, the real captain. We sat across our counterparts and asked them whatever we wanted, like whatever question that we needed to ask to get it right. And to me, it was like a big responsibility, like to just make sure that is as close as possible. And I know I can't do close to what they can do, and on a daily basis. And for me, I'm just very proud to have been able to do it, and continue to do it. So it's been fun. It's been fun. You should catch up on the show. It's good.
I definitely watch it. Like I said,
in September, watch our show, Hand of God, on Amazon.
I definitely want to check that out.
Really, really good.
I mean, not just for Max, but also, there's this little guy, Ron Perlman's in it as well.
Ron,
he's an up-and-comer.
Ron, Andre, and Dana will be at Comic-Con San Diego. They're doing a panel as well on the show.
It's Bizarro World: The Wire. You should definitely watch it.
I have a question. Are Ron Perlman's hands as big as they look in movies?
Yes.
Oh my God! Like he's got the biggest
he's got banana
and
hands.
big head. Like he's a big featured guy.
He's not as tall as I thought he was going to be. But I had met him. Prior to us working together. And you look at him, and then I didn't know that he's a New Yorker too. He's a New Yorker, so I'm from New York. So he and I ended up having friends in common in the theater world from doing theater for so many years, and that was immediately like a bonding moment.
That's awesome.
That was immediate, but his hands are as big as you think they are.
How big is his wiener?
From what I hear, I've asked, but he won't show.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then he hits you with that really big hand across the face.
It says, "What do you think?" Yeah.
Max, thank you so much. The show is The Last Ship. It's on TNT Sunday nights at 9 p.m.
Yes.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is back in the fall. He may or not be part of that. Also, Sicario, is that the...
Sicario, yeah. Sicario is also out in September, and so is Hand of God.
So you're pretty busy for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
I think he can take Christmas off.
I think I will. I'll debate it. Yeah, I'll debate with my accountant.
Then next year, whole new phase of Marvel movies.
Yes, a whole new phase of Marvel movies.
A whole bunch of opportunities for you to show up.
And hopefully in a couple more seasons of these shows, too, so which is great.
Well, next time you're around, we'd love to have you back on the show. Max, thank you so much. I appreciate it. We'll see you next time.
Welcome back to the program. My name is Erik Nagel, and Giddles is here joining me, filling in for Matt OG as we are live in Miami Beach, South Beach, Florida, for Florida SuperCon. It's a much smaller. Roland is jumping into the pool and threw his sweaty shirt right at Giddles' face. I think he just heard him fall into the pool, hopefully. But there he goes. How's the pool, Roland? He says it's nice in his best Borat voice. Anyway, so Florida SuperCon, it's a con. It's not as big as New York SuperCon. It's not as big as New York Comic-Con. Obviously, nowhere near the scale of San Diego Comic-Con, but it is a very impressive con, and we do thank them for inviting us down to broadcast, to hang out there, to talk to all the guests, and the staff has been great, all the handlers have been great, the hotel people have been great. Right. Roland likes it because the volunteers come around, and I guess they think we're that important, and they're like, Do you guys need drinks? Do you need food? At one point, they had little personal pizzas, and Roland's like, yeah, I need a personal pizza. And they're like, okay, and they run off. I'm like, Roland, what are you doing? He's like, she asked, I want to get stuff. I'm like, just leave him alone. But he's taking full advantage of the perks that are being given to us. I guess I can't fault him for that. Anyway, Florida SuperCon. You can follow the photos and stuff we've been doing so far. E-Rock Radio on Twitter and Instagram. Giddlebase on Twitter and Instagram. Rolandos99 on Twitter and Instagram. And, of course, It's Erik Nagel, the main show account. You can find all the stuff there. Plus, our Facebook page, It's Erik Nagel. Please go there and like it. And we're trying to update it as much as we can with all the stuff that's going on. Let's move on to our next guest here. And this one was just for me. If the staff that was here with us didn't care for it, if you listening at home are not going to care for this, guess what? I don't care. This segment is just for me because it involves Doctor Who. I felt like Chevy Chase when he saw Christy Brinkley naked in the pool. I was that excited. For those of you who don't know, Paul McGann, a British actor, he played the 8th Doctor, who was pretty much a one-and-done thing when they tried to revive Doctor Who back in 1996 with a movie which was a joint venture between 20th Century Fox and the BBC. That movie was supposed to be also the pilot to launching a new series. It didn't work out that way, and then we had to wait till 2005 when the BBC tried yet again to relaunch it, and as you can see, it's been massively successful. Right. And it's no longer the thing where you'd see the guys in the weird scarves or in the hats and some of the older doctors anymore. Now they're all dressed as the newer doctors, and you can't ignore it anymore. It's not just like, that's just some dumb Doctor Who thing. It's getting to be the point where it's going to be as big as Star Trek and Star Wars. I saw a lady in a TARDIS dress. It was horrible. Those are huge. In fact, we saw 2 TARDISes at this con. There were a lot of... Oh, we can't say that word. Never mind. So anyway, we're going to go to the stage right now and talk to Mr. Paul McGann.
It's Erik Nagel at Florida SuperCon in Miami Beach.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is I'm not going to lie, this is a real treat for myself. I'm going to be very selfish with this interview. Giddles, if you want to chime in, good luck. See if you can get a word in edgewise here.
I'm not going to be able to. I know that
if you listen to my show, I've talked about for years
you can
on my show, on Opie and Anthony, that I am a huge Doctor Who fan.
You can tell by your shirt.
Yes, this is a custom-made mashup of the 8th Doctor. That is who we are going to speak to right now. If you're a Doctor Who fan, this is going to be an incredible moment. Please welcome Mr. Paul McGann. Hello, sir. How are you?
Happy.
Don't lie.
Well, do I look unhappy to you?
No, it's just nobody's happy to come and do this show.
Don't do yourself down.
This is a big honor. Not only am I a huge Doctor Who fan, but you're the first Doctor that I have actually got to sit down and talk to. I've seen Matt Smith from afar, but this is...
Yeah, but you can't get near him. This
no,
is the thing, man.
There's too many girls around him.
Yeah, and they're just the bodyguards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you feel? I know you embrace it now even more than ever, but when you got picked to do Doctor Who back in the 90s, when it was a joint venture between the BBC and Fox, to try to give it some more life and bring it out of cancellation there, what was going through your head when the movie was done and came out and it was not getting the reception that you hoped for?
I remember it happened really quickly. Well, because the so-called movie was actually a pilot.
Right.
So movie's a bit of a misnomer.
Well, they switched it to movie.
Yeah, they switched it to movie, yeah. But it was a pilot, and it was a pilot that simply failed in its function. It never went to series. So it's kind of brutal, of course, and it happened quickly, and it didn't get the ratings, and it never happened. So it was disappointing. It was disappointing for all concerned.
I'm sure it was, and it was disappointing as being a Doctor Who fan, especially when all you had were the first 7 Doctors from the original run, and then finally there's some new life. Then you have to wait another 9 years before they actually make the other attempt to it. Now that happens with Russ Davis and Stephen Moffat. Were you expecting to be asked to come back in some role to kind of either regenerate into the 9th Doctor or just continue as the 8th Doctor?
If I'm brutally honest,
yeah,
I was kind of expecting the phone to ring. And I'd have been happy, I'd have been happy maybe, just come for a day and we'll do a regeneration. Of course, I'd have been thrilled. I didn't expect to get the gig.
Right.
But I kind of half expected.
Sort of a handoff, like Sylvester McCoy did for you in the pilot.
I did. I did. I don't mind admitting it. I expected a regeneration. Never got it. Not so much as a phone call. Nothing. Not a letter. No. Nobody. I guess for them, for their part, they just wanted to leave the whole thing behind, leave the past behind. That is Russell T. and those people. They've since softened and said, we owe you a debt of thanks and all this kind of thing. But like any frustrated actor, I was waiting for the phone to ring and it never did.
So they recast and continue with pretty much skipping over the 8th and starting with the 9th Doctor and just making up a whole history. And I think at the time was just like, well, this happened, we're just going to leave it alone and build our own thing. But then 2012, 2013 comes around, and they start shooting and writing and everything for the Day of the Doctor, for the 50th anniversary. And as they're leading up to it, they're starting to put little vignettes up online and to keep the fans interested and pay back. And there's this one called The Night of the Doctor. And you're watching a spaceship crash, and then the TARDIS comes in, and then she's like, I need a doctor, and you walk through. And I remember watching it at work, and not really the place to say this, but I screamed, holy shit, as I grabbed the desk. And then there you all walking through, and then it goes into the whole sequence.
So what time of day was it here in the States when it went out? Was it evening? When was it?
No, it was morning.
Morning time.
It was morning time.
That's right, because it was lunchtime in England, so that's right, yeah. So early morning.
Yeah, so it was morning time, and I'm at work. I was doing a morning show, and then after the show, I saw the thing, and I watched it. So it's about 11 o'clock in the morning, and you just hear me scream down a corporate office, holy shit, and there's the 8th Doctor. So this comes out, and now they show sort of your transformation into the War Doctor, and it wasn't like everyone's like, okay, great, he's finally getting his due to regenerate into the night. Threw a whole nother monkey wrench into the thing, doesn't answer anything, and then you got to wait for the movie.
It throws up more questions than it answers, right?
So when they're doing all of this, and they contact you, and they say, look, we have an idea, would you want to be a part of this, or is this more like, we're sorry we didn't use you for other stuff, and we want to bring you into the fold for the 50th anniversary?
Well, when you say they, of course,
Stephen Moffat, who's running the show at the time.
It's Stephen Moffat, not Russell T. Well, quickly I'll describe how Moffat approached me, and he simply called me. We were in Australia. I say I was on tour with the old boy band, McCoy and Colin Baker, Peter Davis, and the 4 Doctor thing. But of course Moffat said, he called me and he said, do you want to do this thing? And he said, I can't even tell you really what it is because I haven't written it yet. I said, well, okay, so I'm sight unseen, I'm meant to agree. He said, more or less. He said, if you want to do it, I'll write it. I said, when do you want to do it? He said, 2 weeks' time. And that's how quick it was.
So did you have to cancel your plans while you were down in Australia to come running back to England to shoot it?
No, it worked out fine. We were down in Australia for maybe 10 days. It was fine. But the worst thing was I couldn't tell the others. He said, you got to keep this stum. You got to keep it secret.
I remember reading once the movie was coming out that Colin Baker had a big problem that he wasn't invited to be back in there, but they invited Tom Baker at the end.
They get bitter.
Yeah. So you get the call, you come back, you shoot this thing. At the end, it's no spoiler to anybody. You drink this elixir to change you, to make you regenerate into something that you want this time, not something unpredicted. Did they tell you that it was becoming the War Doctor, or did they just say you're going to regenerate and leave it at that and keep it a surprise from you?
To be perfectly honest, the details of it, such as they were described to me, kind of went over my head a little bit. Because I wasn't that up to speed on the War Doctor thing anyway. There's so much mythology. The way we shot that thing in a day, maybe a day and a half. It was quick. And even while we were doing it, even while we were shooting, Stephen would be handing me things to say. Bits of script.
So they were writing on the fly, too?
On the fly. Here, say the names of the Big Finish companions, that kind of thing. I have to say, it really wasn't until I got home again, couple of days later that it dawned on me. Any implications that it might have for the history of it, the story of it. But while we were shooting it, no, it was just relentless, and it kind of went over my head.
So you get to the ending part, and they go, okay, great.
Except I got a regeneration,
Right.
Yeah,
you're like,
long
great,
overdue.
thanks. And then you have to wait and see till it actually comes out to see what exactly they did.
It wasn't
with
that long.
Yeah.
It was just 5-6 weeks. And don't forget as well that it went out. That went out on November 14th. I remember because it was my birthday. It should have gone out on the 22nd, 23rd with everything else. It was part of that package. The reason that it went out 7-10 days early is because there was a threatened leak of it.
Yes, that's exactly why it went out early in the morning.
So Stephen sent me a message. He said, look, I've got to put it out now because if I don't put it out, somebody else will.
And it ruins the surprise.
Which in a way was propitious because it kind of had a little run of its own. It had a week clear.
Before the movie.
Getting all these YouTube hits, so it got a lot of attention. I mean, it would have got attention anyway, but it did well, you know.
Did it surprise you as far as when they designed the Eighth Doctor for that particular segment that you weren't the lavish, posh guy that you were when we last saw you with the pilot?
I liked it. I liked the design of it.
You didn't have the long flowing hair.
I think it was important that, plus I was 20 years older, but more importantly, I think that he looked like he'd been in the wars, literally been in the wars. He looked like he'd been beaten around a bit.
Yeah.
Looked a little tired.
Tired, weathered, short hair.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You know, it was better, I thought.
Didn't look like you changed your outfit in 40 years.
Kind of thing, exactly.
So this happens, the movie comes out, and now there's a huge resurgence again, not that there wasn't for Doctor Who, but now it's including you as far as the toy line with the sonic screwdrivers, Titan vinyl. Now has different variations of the younger and older ones of you in there.
Things with removable heads, that kind of stuff.
Right.
Which everyone has to approve. You know, they send you these things, yes or no, and you go, yeah.
Do you get a cut of that? Because they use your likeness?
Everybody does. That's the deal.
You'd be surprised. Sometimes we've talked to people where they said, no, we signed off, and they put the toy out, and we don't get anything.
I'm here to tell you. Might be tiny, but it's a cut. Why not?
Why not? Besides Doctor Who, I mean, you've done various other projects, too. I know I recently saw you in Luther, and you did Whitnail and I.
Yeah.
And what are you working on right now?
Why do you have to ask me that? Because I can't tell you. I can't tell you them things. It's all confidential. They make you sign pieces of paper these days.
Who makes you sign?
TV, film companies. They just get paranoid. You know, this is the season, of course, back in England. You know, these months between sort of April and October, this is the high season. So it's happening quickly. They say, okay, look, we're going to do this, we're going to shoot in July, but you can't speak about it.
Right.
So you're going to have to wait and see what it is. But there's 2 or 3 things I'm working on. I can tell you that much.
Is it Sherlock?
I wish. I wish.
The internet would explode if you showed up on Sherlock. Even if you're just sitting there at the if you're just sitting there at the cafe drinking coffee.
I would do anything to be in Sherlock. I'd play anything.
You could be a nice villain.
Yeah.
Badass.
Anything.
Or maybe you're the Doctor they used to do the crossover.
Cool.
There we go.
Instead of the current Doctor.
That'd be
Is that
great.
a compliment when someone says, you'd be a nice villain?
You can't say anything nicer to an actor.
Yeah.
Because most of us want to be villains, we don't want to be heroes, you know.
Right.
That's
The villains have the best dialogue.
they're the best best costumes, best dialogue.
You want to be a villain.
Yeah. that's the way it is.
Between the pilot and the resurgence of the Eighth Doctor and the Night of the Doctor, you were doing a lot of the audio series. It wasn't for BBC, it was for another company.
Yeah, Big Finish.
Right.
Yeah.
So there was a whole bunch of stories. So even though you visually didn't get the life and times of the Eighth Doctor, you got it on the audio, which was
12,
great.
13 years of it.
When they did Night of the Doctor, were you like, oh, this kills off the Eighth Doctor storyline? You already gave him the end. We can't continue.
No, I mean, the two are connected in Big Finish audios and the TV stuff that they make at Cardiff.
Because you mentioned the companions and the audio
and in a way, that cements the relationship. You know, that makes it canon, as the fans would say. They've long had a working relationship, Big Finish and Cardiff, and they swap personnel. Think about Nick Briggs, for example, who plays the voice of the Dalek. He's a producer at Big Finish. Barnaby Edwards. They swap people anyway. So in a way, they're peas in a pod. You know, they're of a piece. Far from it. It didn't kill anything off. It made it Big Finish is enjoying a spike. It's boom time.
Right.
Yeah. Mainly because kids in America now are picking up on the audio stuff, whereas before they were a bit slow to.
Yeah, it took me a while to.
Yeah.
It took me a while to find it. It was probably right the year leading up to the 50th anniversary that it started becoming more and more.
Well, curiously,
available.
I mean, in the States, you have, or used to have anyway, a great tradition of radio drama. It started here. Think back to the 40s, 50s, and 60s. There was lots of stuff on the radio. It doesn't happen so much these days. Whereas in England, you can still have a career totally on the radio as an actor. We still do radio dramas all the time, which I guess is why, particularly the young generation now, they just ain't au fait with it. But we've noticed in the last 2 years, particularly perhaps since the 50th, whether it's just by word of mouth or just by dint of the 50th anniversary itself, kids are getting into the radio, into the audio dramas. And it's tailor-made for Americans. You guys do like 5-hour, 10-hour car journeys.
Oh, man, yeah.
So you could put a couple of audio adventures on in
with
those
the surge of podcasting, too, and Audible, for books like that.
And it's good for us because, the more you buy, the more we make. That's the only business model there is.
So buy,
and we'll make more.
There you go.
Supply and demand, Eric.
I'm the day before I flew 2 days ago, I was doing one, and when I get back on the 2nd, we do some more. So we're making them all the time.
We're running out of time, sir, but before you go...
It's all right, I'm a Time Lord.
Yes, we can just go out there and do it all over again.
Come back and do it,
I saw a rumor online, and there's a lot of rumors with Doctor Who, like, there's going to be the Doctor Who Sherlock crossover because Moffat runs both. But one of the things I read was that at some point they were considering another spin-off of Doctor Who because they had Torchwood. They wanted to do the 8th Doctor stories. See, I knew this was bullshit. That's why I was asking you if you heard about this.
It may or may not be. Listen, I hear rumors at the speed perhaps that you hear rumors. And 99.9% of them they never come to anything.
Right. Occasionally
one does, in a 1,000. But if for example, the story I was telling you before about Moffat giving me a call and saying, "You want to do this thing? When? Next week?" That's how they work. So if you hear a rumor, for example, saying, "I heard that in a few months' time," it's never true. That's not how they work. They're always working on the fly. They're working, they never know what they're going to do even 6 weeks ahead.
Right.
That's just how Moffat is. So it's much more likely if you hear a rumor that next week something might happen, that's probably nearer the truth.
Well, it worked for Star Wars. Sorry, not Star Wars, for Star Trek. They had multiple versions out at the same time.
Yeah.
I think now more than ever would be the time to launch. If they wanted to give the 8th Doctor a fair shot and just do a separate side story, now's the time to spin it off and you would get the ratings and you'd get the viewers.
I mean, when personally and once or twice I have, if I see Stephen, I saw Stephen in a pub in London just recently, just bumped into him, we had a drink. And I said, "Stephen, I wish you were with me for all of the times that people ask about rumours and what are you doing, and you could answer the questions, But I said to him, any chance of more 8th Doctor adventures? He said, maybe. He didn't say no. And, of course, that's his prerogative.
Unless you're Colin Baker. And then he said, any chance of 6 Doctors? And he'll go, no, not happening.
He said to me, stay in shape. That's all he said to me. Just stay in shape. So take what you will from that.
Just sit on the bench waiting for that call.
Exactly right. Yeah, like every sad actor you ever met. Yeah.
Just practicing lines in the mirror.
Exactly. Yeah.
This man is doing anything but sitting around. He's got countless projects. He's doing the contours.
Yeah.
I hope this comes true, and I'm sure a lot of Doctor Who fans would love to see more of the 8th Doctor.
I would love it. I'd love to shoot some more. Wouldn't it be great? I mean, we are in the age of spin-offs. You could have different formats. Of course you can. Which, of course, is the foundation of all the rumours. This is why we have so many rumours. If I could tell you anything concrete, I would, but I can't. So,
So you heard it here first. Paul McGann's in season 4 of Sherlock.
Yeah.
And an 8th Doctor
spin-off. I'm the new Moriarty, yeah. Exactly. Can you imagine?
Paul, thank you so much for your time here. You're the first Doctor I've got a chance to meet. and you are the best doctor.
I'm the nicest.
You are the nicest. Thank you so much, Mr. Paul McGann.
Thanks, folks.
Welcome back to the program. My name is Erik Nagel. Giddles is over here, filling in for Matt OG as we are live from Miami Beach, Florida. We're on South Beach, poolside at our hotel for Florida SuperCon. You may ask, how are you at the pool and doing Florida SuperCon at the same time? Well, at the time that we're broadcasting here, guess what? The con's over. So we can't really do the show live from the con because it's closed. They're feeling everybody out. So we went back to the hotel. We have all the interviews, and we're going to do this live from here. And this is what you're hearing, whether it's good or not. Follow along on the Facebook, It's Erik Nagel, and the Twitter account, It's Erik Nagel. Let's move on to our next guest here. You know him from countless animation projects on Adult Swim, the Cartoon Network, various other channels that have some kind of animation. You'll hear his voice. Mr. Dana Snyder, right? Where would we know him from? Right. He was Todd on Code Monkeys, if you ever saw that. So we're going to talk to him. We're in the last season ever for Aqua Teen Hunger Force, which is sad, but we'll talk to him about that. And let's go back to the stage there as we speak to Dana Snyder.
It's Erik Nagel at Florida SuperCon in Miami Beach.
Mr. Dana Snyder's going to be here.
Yeah.
If you don't know who he is, then you haven't been watching any quality animation in the last 15 years.
If you don't know who he is, you probably shouldn't be at SuperCon. I'll just put that out there.
He's pretty much the cornerstone of William Street.
Yeah, like at every Adult Swim show, he's got a voice on it somehow.
Video games, movies, television shows. He was in Adventure Time, which is like the biggest thing of all time right now.
Adventure Time's awesome.
Well, we don't. Let's just kiss his ass. Let's get him up here, Mr. Dana Snyder.
It's okay, we can't hear.
Hello, sir. How are you? No problem.
I didn't. Hello. Let's do it like this, just over the shoulder. This is a personal interview.
This is the way I prefer to do it.
That's right. I've heard that. Like a nitwit, I'm going the exact horrible way to go around. I'm like trying to go this way. There's 50 frickin' feet on around both sides. Hi, sorry.
There's no correct way to do this.
You're really dressed for Miami.
There might not be a correct way to do it, but I did it the really least correct way possible.
You did it the most efficient way for you.
Yeah. I've got...
You're really dressed for Miami. You got
I've got a blue shirt, show
pink,
off the guns.
Right.
Gun show. I've got some red, not pink. Nice try.
Salmon. We'll meet in the middle.
That's red. Come on.
I would say that's red.
And you got the beach hat, the Kangol beach hat. You don't look like a tourist.
Protect my, and then I take pictures of the tops of all the buildings I go around. I blend in perfectly, seamlessly. I carry a Cuban sandwich around with me. I have a Cuban sandwich on one side, and then I have the camera. I'm just taking pictures of and asking where the Art Deco district is.
I can't give you shit because that's exactly what we did last night.
Yeah.
We were trying to find any place that was open that didn't have some kind of a dress code because we were poorly underdressed.
Were you dressed like this?
Dressed like this. And everybody around here looks like
shoes on. It's not like...
We tried.
Oh, yeah. We go to this place. It's got a pool in the middle of it. It's like a bar. People are eating like shrimp cocktails and stuff. And then there's also people swimming in their... swimwear.
Right.
What is it? Bathing suit. Right, bathing suit. My wife I come to this thing, she has the perfect timing every single time. I'm like, I'm waiting around. How long did we wait? We were like 20 minutes late, whatever it was. Doesn't call me then. Didn't call me once then. Second I step on stage, bing, 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 bing. My iPhone goes off. She's like, what are you doing? You have time to talk? I need to talk to you about something. Then it sounds like it's going to be super dangerous, like I'm divorcing you, I'm whatever it is. And then she's like, the dishwashing detergent, I can't find it. I'm like, great. Well, I'm in the other side of the country right now, and I don't have a photographic memory. I have no clue where the dishwashing detergent is, and I'm on a panel thing right now.
And this is when you tell her, this is why we don't bring you to these things.
That's right. I forgot. Why am I screaming? I forgot to do what you did. I'm going to do that. Like, hey, everybody, I'm Dana Snyder. Yay.
Yeah, you got to tell
people.
Do the
yay afterward, yeah.
Yeah, you have to tell people what's happening. And I always add yay in case if they don't, which most of the time they don't. I'm like, yay is what I hear in my head. So
But you got to switch it up. Hey, I'm Dana Snyder. You suck. do that way, too. Do the opposite.
I don't like how uncomfortably close Lisa just got with Dana here.
There wasn't a lot of room over here.
Well, we're friends.
Giddles and I are excited to speak to this guy, and Lisa just kind of pushes the chair through, and she goes,
I just
hey.
showed
As soon as I said dish detergent, I started like Slink. I found a chair.
I'm trying to get into voice work. For those of you who don't know, Dana's been in countless things, and we're going to get through most of them if we have time.
You don't have to. No one cares.
We're going to get through every single one. The big thing right now, and what's getting the most buzz, is the return for the final season of Aqua Teen Hunger Force.
Yes, the final season of Aqua Teen Hunger Force.
Yay!
We finally decided to...
I think tomorrow or whenever will be the second episode of the last season.
Right.
Did you see the first episode?
It's on my DVR because I'm here.
It's on the DVR, of course. It was on last week. That's all right. Did you get here last week? Okay. Busted. Stone cold busted.
Yep.
No,
it was different. It was all like stop motion. It was. It really was. There was no animated. Well, there was like a second of no one saw it.
Bunch of storyboards and people yelling.
Yeah. Well, that's a normal. It's like
that's how TV gets
animated quality of a flip book normally, but this was like all stop motion. It was very. It was pretty awesome.
I should tell you, I'm going to watch it.
See?
It's not like I'm not a fan. You know.
Why all of a sudden now are they? I know there was other, I guess, problems, which is why you kept changing. The owners of the show kept changing the title.
I don't think there were any problems. Were there?
Well, I thought there were some issues as why they kept changing it from Aqua Teen Hunger Force to Patrol Squad.
No, I think they kept changing it because they thought, hey, what's no show in the history of shows ever done? Change their title every single time. They thought it was a super funny gag to say, it's a totally different show. It takes place in Portland now. And then it'd be the same damn thing. And everybody's like, hey, you nitwits. Now nobody can find it on their TiVo. No, you don't say TiVo anymore, do you?
I don't think
so. Like 1,000 years old. Like, we're going to the Walmart. I put the in front of them. My grandma's like, we're going to the Target. It's not the Target. It's just Target. I'm going to Target. Not the Target, the Walmart.
Yeah, you still have the TiVo.
Yeah,
I thought I
got TiVo. Does who's the youngest person here? Mario.
Everybo's here is old.
You don't know what a TiVo is, right? So yeah, it's like a rash. This guy's got it all over his legs. You don't want to know about the TiVo. I mean, you know what a DVR is, right? No. All right. God. Well, you live in a home with no screens. That's very good.
He's like 6 years old.
Very noble. Well, they still know. You know what TV is, right? VCR. Yeah, knows what a VCR is. You know what Betamax?
Yo, Betamax is great.
Wrong. That's the guy from the Disney movie, Big Hero, Betamax.
No, I thought the name changed. I thought I read something that had to do with syndication rights or whatever.
I think that may be, but I think, sorry, I get us off track.
It's okay.
No, I don't know what will you stop interrupting? I'm trying to answer this question. Just kidding. Jonathan Navarro, everybody. No, I think they did it purely out of wanting to do it and wanting to do a new opening title sequence. Right. And that was it.
I think it's a great idea.
Did a lot of this come about with right after doing the movie? Like the movie went so far past what was normally the television show.
Oh yeah.
It was like for really old people. Remember when the Monkees put out Head and it was nothing like the TV show and it just kind of killed everything that the Monkees did?
Yeah, right.
It was in the realms of that where they just said how much more messed up stuff can we put into this movie and not explain it?
Well, and when they did that movie too, like they didn't have any idea what it was going to do. They didn't know if it was going to be a movie in the movie theaters. They didn't know if it was going to be like Bob Ross. Nice to see you. He's moved on to photos now. No, he's gone on to photography. The joy of pictures. There's a guy who looks like Bob Ross.
He does
photos of us. You can't see it on the.
He's taking a happy little picture.
He's white balancing.
Yeah. That's right. Good job, by the way. They didn't know if it was going to like just be on the network,
right,
or if it was going to be the last thing they thought was it was going to be in the movie theater. But then we had this screening somewhere in Hollywood. Maybe you've heard of it. Not Hollywood, Florida. Nice try, Mario. But they were like all these executives from, guys who distribute movies.
Right.
I remember sitting next to some guy who brought his kid with him. And he got done. He's like, I didn't understand a damn minute of that thing. I had no idea what the hell was going on. But my little kid here loves it. So I don't get it, but somebody gets it. And he's like, all right, we're going to buy the movie. So then it was like whatever the company was. First Look. I think we closed First Look Pictures. They were no longer. Yeah, they were like they did like weird horror movies and stuff. You know, like Saw 7 or whatever it is. Taken 12.
Like a trauma company.
Get under the bed. They're coming for you. That's my Liam Neeson impersonation. It's really horrible. Sounds like the Lucky Charms guy.
So the movie happened. They changed the name for a while, which really screwed up people's recording habits. But now we're in the final season here. What was the reason to finally end the thing here? Because it seemed like it could go on forever because it wasn't happening that often.
It was not by any of the creators' choice. It was purely a executive decision from Adult Swim,
right?
Which is unfortunate because the guys have always said they would do that show forever. They would never not do it.
The show was so popular. How come they didn't do more as far as merchandising? Like there was some, but not enough that you would expect from a show with the voices and that were so unique and distinct for those characters. You'd think there would have been more stuff out there.
Yeah. Well, we had a big surge of Hot Topic items in like 1999. Or 2003 or whatever. Right. That was about it.
I remember all those shirts and like they had little mugs.
Meatwad lunchbox.
Yeah.
I think they did it. They're like, all right, surge of Aqua Teen stuff. And then they're like, hey, we didn't sell any of this shit. No one's buying this.
I think I saw they even had like Meatwad like earmuffs or something like that. It was pretty.
They had all that. It's like Hot Topic. They just did like every single thing. Like, what's the most popular thing right now? Whatever. The Boogaboos. Hit go, and it immediately stamps on all the same project. Like lunchbox, 4 T-shirts. Earphones, then like, that's not popular anymore. What's super popular now? Spider-Man. Push. Same lunchbox, but just Spider-Man's face on it instead of the other thing. So they pushed our button for that. I don't think Adult Swim does a lot of any of that stuff. Like, probably the best merchandise that comes out, I think, is for Venture Brothers.
Yeah.
And Venture Brothers sort of does their own stuff.
I love Venture Brothers.
I mean, they do this T-shirt club. I don't know if they did it this year or they're going to do it, but every year they've had, like, you can pay whatever it is, $9,000. Mario asked Mom, she'll give it to you. It's a great deal. But then, like, every single episode, someone's wearing a T-shirt in the episode that then they send you in the mail, like, afterwards.
I did that. I signed up for that. And for, like, a year, I was getting a shirt every month. And it was awesome.
It's great,
great
right?
Shirts,
like,
and, like, you could identify fans. It was a great way to, like, nerd out with your friends.
Yeah, because it didn't say, like, Venture Brothers. It just would be like Dr. Stevens. You'd be like, hey, that's from the. You're like, yeah, I did it too.
I had like the Dr. Killinger shirt. Had just had like the skull patch on it. So like only people who would know it were people who knew the character.
That's the stuff. That's the kind of stuff I like. I like that only if you know it, you know that I know it.
Yeah,
but nothing else. Like that one's kind of like that. Your shirt.
Yeah, this is.
I mean, it's very iconic, but it doesn't say like He-Man on it or whatever. Like,
no, this is, I guess it's technically not official, but it's an artist conception of Magneto.
Yeah.
Doesn't have, X-Men or Marvel.
Looks like if they hired, like, Jackson Pollock to make a Magneto head. But he had to, like, really stay in the lines a little bit. Like, you can't drink and paint. You got to just paint it real quick. Jackson Pollock. All right, I'll do it.
I found with Aqua Teen Hunger Force, even to some extent the Venture Brothers, the best merchandise that you were finding at cons like this were the bootleg stuff or the artist conceptions that weren't officially licensed. Same with Archer. Archer doesn't have a lot of stuff out. They just started putting some more stuff out, but all the really cool stuff you were seeing at the cons were made by artists and by fans, and they were selling it.
I just got in the mail, like, from Venture Brothers. I mean, I bought it. Don't think I'm getting... You know how it is.
Why aren't you getting free stuff? You should
This guy knows what I'm talking about. No free rides in this life,
that
right?
guy.
Yeah, he knows. Like, I was just tweeting that. Strangely enough.
I want an Alchemist shirt. That would be awesome. Venture Brothers?
They had a Triad one.
Yeah.
But they made, I don't remember what the member, what am I? All right, fine, I'm a jackass. I don't remember what the company is, but they made, like, there's Venture Brothers. They just came out with it. There's like a Mego-sized action figure of the Alchemist and Shore Leave coming in a 2-pack. But they've done, like, everybody. Venture Brothers, though.
Yeah.
Oh, that's another. Yeah, we did. What was it? Like when it first came out, they made Aqua Teen action figures that were from like Palisades or something. They closed down.
I have a Master Shake.
Yeah, that was the first one they made. Luckily, but then I got it. But they were like, next wave, we're going to do a fry lock, and next wave, we're going to... Nothing. They didn't do. They're like, hey, once again, sold nothing. They're like next to the E.T. video games in the desert.
In the Mexican dump.
Well, I bought like 5 of them. So I was like, wow, I'm on an action figure. I'm like, you're an idiot. You're surrounding yourself with your own crap, you narcissistic bastard. I'm like, I don't have my girlfriend anymore, but I got all these cool action figures.
I feel like there should be like Master Shake water bottles here for everyone walking around to just drink out of. That'd be awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they should.
Like, it's fucking hot in here.
But they
like,
just
we need
have
water.
like gin and shame inside of them. Can I have one of those shame cocktails, please? Oh, of course. I've made you one already, sir. Oh, I think you've had a few already. I certainly have.
I'm also amazed that there hasn't, like you were just saying, that there should be, or should have been, more of a fast food time. Like, obviously, McDonald's and Burger King's not going to go for it. But if you get some of the smaller chains that are willing to take a risk.
Yeah,
like,
who would be willing
to...
to,
Like a DQ Blizzard would have Master Shake cups.
Or like, you need like the fast food company that like just hates itself.
Like Whataburger.
Or like Roy Rogers or something. We got the world's greasiest chicken. All right, we'll have them on. Why
they're only
not?
available at rest areas.
Well, what's the burger going to be? No one cares. It's just like a weird paste we put on the bun, which is our hamburgers anyway. Nobody gives a shit what they are. They're like only because we're at rest stops are the only reason we sell any food. No one has ever said, let's go to Roy Rogers tonight.
But they have that great Fixins bar, and you could put like a stack of pickles this big on your burger. It's great.
You're better off throwing the burger away and just fill it up with pickles. We mostly just we sell a lot of pickle sandwiches in this place because they're brined. They know they can't go bad.
They can't kill you.
We need as many pickled products in the restaurant as possible with our weird, greasy, gross chicken.
Where are you with like royalties and compensation with Aqua Teen going off the air after this season? The DVD sales, all of that. Do you guys get a piece of that as the voice talent?
Are you kidding?
Nothing.
They don't give us nothing. I'm going to be like Ed McMahon at the end when he like had no money. He's like, I was on 55 years of television. Now.
So you're paid per session?
That's right. They do like, they pay you. Yeah, they pay you to do each one. And then per session. And then if you reread it, then you get a reread. Most places do that, but then you get residuals afterwards. But this one, there's some weird right to work, something that which is why most of the stuff they don't do in Atlanta, I don't think anymore, because
people want to be paid for it.
Well, they pay you, but like they don't. Yeah, exactly. It's all union, which is the way to go. But they had some weird like we can't do it that way, or we're in trouble, or something. Probably right now, I just got kicked out of show business.
So you don't even get anything from the DVD sales?
I occasionally get a free DVD.
Oh, man.
Not the case. So, we're not giving you the case. We'll give you a DVD. You didn't say nothing. We didn't say nothing about a case, Mr. Cadillac, all right? You get the DVD and that's it.
You get, the rap party gift. It's still written with Sharpie. It's like season 2.
I know. There's no rap party. There's no rap parties. There's no parties.
They just stop answering your call.
Yeah, that's it.
When we did the first DVD and it sold squillions of dollars, they threw a party, which was good. But then they found a way to write it off by flying in all the other show creators. And then they made us perform hey, it's a party for us. Now we got to get up there and, yeah.
You have to do karaoke as Shake?
No, we had to do live band as Shake. It was like some band. They're like, hey, we got a band for you guys to sing with. I'm like, oh, great. So now I'm going to be singing. I'm performing for you like your slave. Yeah, that's it. Get up there and sing, you little asshole. I'm like, all right, fine, here I go.
Get up there, funny guy.
Great. I'm like, but then I was like, of course I will, sir. I'd love to. Sons of bitch. Bastard.
Well, how have you been compensated as far as some of the other projects that you've worked on? Like Code Monkeys was a favorite of mine. Only had 2 seasons.
Regular,
Yeah.
That's like normal.
So that's just scale as well.
Well, it's not always necessarily scale. But yeah, I mean, it's, you go through just a regular union.
There's got to be something, because you have one of those voices that is so recognizable no matter what project you're in. You figure out.
I know what you're saying.
That if you don't know Dana, you say that's Master Shake, or that it leads back to the guy who does Master Shake. There's got to be something that you can get into that will give you obviously the payment, but the longevity, as some of the things like on Fox, like Family Guy, Bob's Burgers,
oh, sure.
The Simpsons, something that'll really hit and then kind of just take care of you for a while.
Well, I mean, don't get me wrong. It's not like I'm eating ramen every night.
Right.
I'm doing quite well. Don't worry about me.
I eat ramen every night.
I have. There's
we don't
two
pay him
things
at all.
I'm doing that are. I can't say what they are because I won't. Then they'll kick me out of it. But they're very big things that I'm very excited about. But I'm not allowed to talk about it. But that's because they must be. The whole thing around is like secret. Like you go, they got your name on the script. They're like, I mean, it's like Fort Knox. Then there's like 25 people in there watching you. Like this guy's from this company, this guy's from this thing.
So it's either Disney, Pixar, or a comic book.
Maybe it's Pixar, Marvel. I'm doing the Avengers movie that Pixar's making, or the Batman. It's what's that one? Metal Men, done by Pixar, directed by Brad Bird, starring me as all four of the Metal Men.
As long as it's better than Tomorrowland. Oh.
Yeah, I didn't see it. It's terrible, right? I was like all on board, like, hey, and I went to the thing where they had like a whole little thing with old blueprints and stuff at the expo. I went and saw that. I was like, wow, this is going to be the greatest movie ever. Then they show the thing, and the girl, she picks up the thing, and all of a sudden she's in the middle of a cornfield or something. Like, still looks good. Brad Bird did The Incredibles. Can't be horrible there.
Yep.
This is a home run. And then they show the next one. They're like, the kids like, and It's a Small World. And they're all like, the kids are freaking out. I'm like, awesome, fantastic. And then he zoops on down to Idiot Town where the big, stupid, fake, futuristic, just CGI bull TiVo. I was like, well, there goes that one.
It was like if Philip Dick tried to write a kid's book and just did not work.
I mean, as soon as I saw that crap, like you got that whole like Disney 60s World's Fair, like make the whatever the Tomorrowland place is, make it look like that. Have people in those weird little 60s shit walking around like JFK and Mamie Eisenhower walking around and like, all right, this is what the future's like. We're going back to the old days.
You know what? In the future, they still have leather suitcases. Like they have flying cars, leather suitcases.
Yeah, with no wheels.
Yep.
We constantly talk about this. P.S. Sorry, I'm getting sidetracked.
No, it's all right. I was just imagining that if you go to this place like Tomorrowland, if you run out of power on the pin, you're in the middle of the ocean and you're drowned.
Yeah, that's true, too.
Yeah, or like in a tiger cage.
Yeah.
How do you know where you're going to go?
I was just walking, I was going to this restaurant in this futuristic city. The thing ran out of power, and now I'm dead.
Yep.
Oh, it's only when you hold it. Spoiler alert. You hold the pin, you go.
It's not a spoiler alert. No one saw the movie.
That's true. Well, it's a spoiler. It is a spoiler alert for everyone, but no one cares that it's a spoiler alert.
Dana, we're running out of time.
You're lost.
If the merchandise was the right way for Aqua Teen Hunger Force, all the weird things that they show up as one and dones in a lot of the episodes, what was the one thing that you wish they actually made in real life?
Oh. Well, I think they're actually doing this. This last season, you can enter to win Carl's Too Wicked car. They're making a real car that looks exactly like Carl's car. I think they could do like a housing development, maybe like have the Aqua Teen house with no bathroom.
They did it in Vegas for the Simpsons house.
Yeah.
Just go to Detroit, and it's $600. You can buy 6 blocks.
Yeah, sounds like perfect.
Yeah,
or that place where they're where is it? They're like giving away houses.
Camden, New Jersey.
No, they can't give those away. They're where the hell is it? All right. Well, let's all have dead air while I think about this for 25 minutes.
Well. My thing is, if they could have, I would have loved the Foreigner belt.
That's good. That's a good answer. That would have been good too. I was thinking bigger, but that's a good one. And have little buttons, play stuff, or like voice command,
sonic waves.
Cold as ice, little fan just just blows that. It's totally ineffective, but like that could be good. That would have been good. I bet people would. I think I saw somebody who was like a metalsmith or something. He made a Foreigner belt for himself.
See, once again. The fan products are better than the official merchandise.
Because they don't send people here. The lawyers they send here, they'll walk around like, suing you, cease and desist, suing you. They don't send the guy who's like the creative guy, like, wow, those are awesome. We should make those.
Yeah.
Those guys are like in their cage wherever they are back at, Nickelodeon headquarters or Marvel headquarters.
Slaving away.
Like, you, Jackson Pollock, you paint that shirt for Magneto, or we're not going to feed you again today. Please, I'm so tired. You paint those shirts. Why do they all have to be handmade? Can't we manufacture these? No.
It's an artisanal shirt.
That's right. It's hipsters.
Dana, we're out of time. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Dana Snyder on Twitter. You should definitely follow him because especially when something random happens and he gets all upset, he goes right to Twitter and you have no idea what he's talking about, but it makes sense to him.
I'm
going
to tweet Bob Ross so everyone can go back and see Bob Ross.
Bob Ross has got fantastic
Can you give
hair.
us a little master shake as you go? Last season of Aqua Teen Hunger Force on Adult Swim. Watch it now before it goes away forever.
Turn your radio down. Listen, jackass! That was probably the wrong thing to scream in a humongous convention center. All right, turkeys. I rule your face. That's a shake.
That works.
Good, right?
Dana Snyder, everybody. Thank you so much. Welcome back to It's Erik Nagel. That is me. I am Erik Nagel, and this is my buddy Giddles. Filling in for Matt O.G., who couldn't make it on this trip. We are live from Miami Beach, Florida. We're down on South Beach at our hotel poolside doing this show for you. And interlacing, interlocking, whatever the terms you want to use. Interviews that we did live at Florida SuperCon here at the Miami Beach Convention Center. I'll have to make sure they take those down. They do not have the rights to use my image. No, that's good. So yeah, look up the Florida SuperCon page and also go to facebook.com/It's Erik Nagel for our page. Like it, and we're going to update a whole bunch of stuff. Yes, I forgot about that too. There's still a bunch of stuff on my phone I still have to post. Rolling had a good time with Star Wars people. I have to put that up there, and there's just some of the people that had really insane costumes or just freaky looking people. We're going to go back to the stage in just a moment here. About who we're going to talk. Oh, we're going to talk to Charlie Adler. Who's Charlie Adler? Are you sensing a theme on today's show? He was also Buster Bunny from Tiny Toons. Not like the original G1 Cobra Commander. They're getting the stage ready. Let's go downstairs and talk to Charlie Adler.
It's Erik Nagel at Florida SuperCon in Miami Beach.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. Charlie Adler, another gentleman who's done countless voices. I'm just going to start off with the one that sits home with me, Buster Bunny from Tiny Toons.
Yeah, I loved him.
Am I on? You're on. Yeah, you can hear you. Getting the Tiny Toons thing, what was that like when they were pitching this? Because it seemed like when they were advertising it, they were rebooting Looney Tunes, and then all of a sudden it was revealed that, no, it's their kid versions of Looney Tunes, but they're not their kids.
Right. You know what? I have no answers for that. It was a straight... hello. It's my first time with a mic. You like it? Genius technician I am. I have no idea. It was so long ago, I had brown hair and eyelids, and now I don't know where the fuck I am.
So Steven Spielberg puts all this together and said we're going to launch this, and it comes out, and it wasn't quite Saturday morning cartoons, but it was afternoon kids coming out of school.
It had a great edge to it. I mean, the writing was really smart. And for of its time, it really was very clever. Some of it was funny. They were doing great movie satires and things that, you know, one wouldn't expect it to see in a kids block.
Right, smart comedy.
But I think it was more adults. I mean, just sitting there in my little cubby, people are being so. It's lovely to hear people say that we were part of their childhoods.
Yeah,
and such a huge part of it. And I now understand that people in junior high school and colleges really, and still do, watch it. So it's really kind of spanned a lot of generations.
Well, that's where it was when it came out, because you go home and you were sitting around in the afternoon, and all of a sudden, like 3 or 4 o'clock would come on. I think it was on Fox at the time. Tiny Toons would come on, and then they had a whole Disney block of Tailspin and Gummy Bears and all that stuff there.
I was in Tailspin, too.
You were in Tailspin? Who were you in Tailspin?
Mad Dog.
Oh, okay. I apologize for not knowing that.
Yeah.
But
by the way, I don't remember anything I did until someone says a name and I go, that's familiar. And it is. It's familiar.
Well, we just had Carlos out here not too long ago. You were also part of Rocco's Modern Life.
Yeah, Carlos and I are doing push-ups, by the way, in between visits. We're up to 105.
Keep the blood pumped.
Well, Got to do something.
Well, you're out there, you got people signing autographs
I know,
and
but
bringing
you
all kinds
gotta
of cool
do
stuff
something.
up. They were the Big Head.
I was Ed and Bev Bighead. I was married to myself.
Who were probably one of Gil's favorite characters in a cartoon.
I really liked the Big Heads. There was especially the episode Leapfrogs that I think was banned from re-syndication because it was about Mrs. Big Head just trying to have sex with Rocco, and she was like forcing herself on
Mrs.
Rocco.
Robinson. They did a Mrs. Robinson. Yes,
and it was like it was really intense for like a kids show.
Yeah. Joe Murray, who created it, is brilliant. Still is brilliant, and he just did what he wanted to do. It was great, and we had a wonderful time. And Ed, I love her. I love her. She just is wrong.
Yeah, it's great.
Thanks.
We were talking to Carlos also about Rocco's Modern Life not kind of getting the due it deserved and the push that Nickelodeon should have given it at the time, because it seems like the shows and the products that came out after it, Doug and Rugrats and SpongeBob, obviously, all got the push of movies and soundtracks and toys and T-shirts and lunchboxes and all that stuff. But Rocco had a small little push of merchandise, but nothing past that point.
It's so you'll go crazy trying to figure out the whys. They're really, it's so random, and some of it really just has to do with very specific taste and one person who's just got a real hard-on for it and has the power to go. And I was in a show called Cow and Chicken, Cartoon Network, and it's still my favorite show that I've ever done, and it seemed at the time that it was audience's favorite. Nope, the network exec thought it was just naughty, offended her.
Yeah, there's some, I don't think so much now, but at least back at that time, the 90s going into the 2000s, they just had this association that cartoons meant children.
Yeah.
And not all the time does that really take place, because a lot of times kids aren't watching cartoons, they're watching other stuff.
Oh, look at the old Looney Tunes. The old Looney Tunes was not geared to children.
No, those were newsreels,
right?
Yeah, they were adult situations. It was, getting shot in the face with guns and arrows and being boiled in a pot by what was deemed,
Yeah, and then there was all the propaganda ones that they put out as well.
Right, these were all the newsreels that played in the theaters for our grandparents and whatnot during World War II. Yeah,
pure satire. So very adult and very pure satire. So I think it's always been a genre that really covered every market. Young, old, hip, not hip, precious, adorable, cutesy pootsy. But I think it's wonderfully, with the advent now of Netflix and Amazon and the internet, there's so much new, interesting product out there. And I am thrilled I'm involved in many of the new shows because they're smart. It's a very different audience, and the business has started to evolve in a very different way.
Carlos also had mentioned that in season 2 is when they started clamping down as far as the dialogue and the the context of what you can say and how you can say it. So it's like you can't say this, you have to say this, because you remember now kids are watching this, so you have to appeal more to the kids than you would the adults.
I didn't even know that.
You didn't know that?
I am so unaware. I go in, there's a script, I act, I leave. I don't know what the hell's going on. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes. So Carlos does know these things, and like we'll talk, and I'll go, really?
It just seemed like Rocco was the line being drawn in the sand, where the Simpsons were on Fox and they could get away with a lot of stuff, and King of the Hill were getting away with a lot of stuff, and then South Park started right in the early to mid '90s in there, and it was just went way past what we would deem friendly for a kids show. That Rocco was the one that was kind of being punished, but then right after that, I had mentioned that in Rugrats, if the kids are watching it for one story, but if parents are sitting there watching this with their kids, the stuff that the parents are saying and some of the dialogue were innuendos and maybe drug jokes and things like that. And you're like, oh my God, what is my kid watching? But they're not seeing that. So then it moved on. SpongeBob has it, and then other cartoons started to develop. Fairly Odd Parents have that innuendo mixed in there. Right. But it just seems like when you guys were doing it, it's like, no, absolutely not.
I guess I'm an idiot because I never really examined any of those elements, which are probably very valuable points. I always feel like my job is to have a great time so the audience has a great time. I don't give it huge amounts of thought about, is there subtext or subterfuge, or is this little Mr. Poopy friendly or little Miss Duty fine? I'm just having a great time. I'm doing my work, and I get the hell out of Dodge. So all these things that you're saying, I'm kind of going, wow, really?
I should have paid attention.
Really? I should have paid attention.
That's kind of how I do this show.
It's a very good way to be.
It's great.
Yeah, I'm with that.
How much creative input were you putting into the characters that you're voicing?
I think complete. I mean, when I'm creating a character, well, it's a collaborative for sure. There's writing to honor. There's a picture. There's a style of a show to honor. But the bottom line is, you have to come in with something very clear to you, and I'm just demented. And so I'm admitting this, and I shouldn't be admitting this, because I've been an actor for 44 years. I don't really think I feel my way through something. If you asked me what I was thinking, I couldn't tell you. You know, when you see a triathlete running, do you go, what were you thinking? Nobody's thinking. I'm not thinking. I don't know what I'm doing.
You're just doing.
It's not a conscious thing for me. It's never been, I don't have a great awareness and consciousness of what's happening. If it feels to me like it's working, that's it. Buy it, don't buy it.
So when you're getting the script and they're saying, look, here's the dialogue, you got to get from point A to point B, you go in there, you try it, like first off, you just do it as written, and then you go, I'm not feeling this, I think the character would do it this way or say this thing?
I've never done that. I always think that my job, because my background was theater, so my job, in my opinion, has always been honor the writing and make it work. And I mean, of the many shows that I've been in, I can't say all of them were particularly well written. My job is to jump over that and to make something happen. So I don't indulge in, well, I don't think Mr. Poopy, Mr. Stinky the Mushroom wouldn't say, "Nani nooni poopy." Something else happens. I just do it. I do it in front of me. I try to make it fun for myself. It has to make sense to me, and they either buy it or they don't. I'm not running for mayor. I mean, clearly I'm not running for mayor. But you can't please everybody, and I don't want to please everybody. It's a terrible thing to say, but I really artistically just want to please myself. And if there's a chance of it succeeding, it will end up pleasing somebody else. But if I am by committee, if what I do is by committee, I stop being myself. I stop doing my best work. And again, it's a high wire act, because people either accept it or they don't. And you have to live with either one of those. I've been very lucky.
No, I was gonna say, if you just do what you love and you're just confident about it, people will see that and they'll love it as well. Like, I found that, like, the same thing in the creative field. Like, I question myself when I do things and be like, oh yeah, but you know what, I'm happy. And then other people see it and then they get happy. So, you know.
I agree.
Yeah.
And at the same time, there are writers, there are producers, there are networks that you have to defer to, and certainly you have to incorporate that. I'm not saying that I'm an island, I just go off and do what I merrily want. There are a lot of masters to serve, but I think at the core, for me or any artist, is to do your job as true to yourself as possible, and hold on tight. It's a strange ride out there, but that's any work. That's anybody. That's a human question. That's everybody. Anybody who works always has to please somebody else, and it's a very hard line to walk. You have an audience. They're expecting something from you. They're expecting something from you guys. You either decide you're going to deliver it, or you're going to pander, or sometimes go between.
What has been your favorite project to do up to now?
Cow and Chicken.
Cow and Chicken?
Oh, yeah.
You still go back and do that to yourself? Like, if you're in the car, you just
I talk to my dogs as Cow every day.
Oh, you're your baby. You're my baby.
I don't know what is wrong.
And the dog's just turning its head looking at you sideways?
Yeah, they're just totally, there's Dad. He's fine. Yeah.
Come on, Baba. Come on with your baby.
All right, then. I do find myself, the red guy appears every now and again. When I'm feeling very sardonic, I often, if somebody makes a stupid joke that bugs me, I go,
That's so pompous. That's a great character.
But he was so insane.
Right.
He was so over the top, and David Feast just said, go. There were no restrictions.
Make him worse. Be a bigger jerk.
His emotional life was as big as New Zealand. This guy, everything was huge. And nothing was like, it passed the salt. It's crazy. I loved it. I love it. It was very cathartic.
You said you're working on some new projects now, some on Netflix.
Well, what I'm working on is my attitude.
Okay. Well, once that's in check, some of these new projects that you're working on, what can you tell us about it?
Well, I just finished doing the last season of The Awesomes, which is Seth Meyers and all that crowd.
Right.
That's been spectacular. I am developing a series now, a live-action series for the internet, which I really am not at liberty to talk about, except to play a 14-year-old girl in it.
That's a stretch.
Not really.
No? Okay. A lot of method acting in that one?
No, you know what? I did a short film with David Feast and Mike Ryan, Cow and Chicken. We went out for a very drunken lunch after another session, and by the time I was done with that show, I needed to look at my driver's license to see where I lived. I was lost. And we went to the same joint, had a great lunch, got very, very hammered, and we were just talking about his cousin, who's a brilliant comic artist, Sam Keith. And Sam was always trying to cast me in these movies, but I was like always a killer somewhere or a kidnapper, and they're always being shot in Ireland, and I couldn't give up my time or my work, so I didn't do it. So I said, so how's Sam doing? He said, oh, Sam's doing great. He thinks you can do anything. You know, Sam is doing this movie about an 18-year-old girl in college. And I said, well, tell him to call me. I'll play it. Because Sam was so confident in me. And then I went, whoa, whoa, whoa! And it occurred to me, and the movie we did was called No Prom for Cindy. And I played a 14-year-old girl suspected of being a lesbian. And I did it with my beard. And I had shower scenes, and the cast was Henry Gibson was my priest, and Brock Peters was my doctor, and Tess Harper was my mother, and Estelle Harris from Seinfeld was my grandmother. And everybody around me treated me as if I was a 14-year-old girl. There was no wink to the audience whatsoever. It was completely legit. And I can't believe it, but we won more damn awards from this Fakakta movie. So that was as a result of the connections with David and Michael Ryan.
So when's the internet project going to be available?
I don't know. It's getting closer. We'll see.
Okay.
It's No Prom for Cindy, so I'm not going to change the name to No Beard for Charlie.
What's your Twitter so people can follow and then figure out do you have a Twitter account?
I would rather have an enema.
A website, a Facebook, anything?
Nope. And if you see me on Facebook, it is an imposter. I will not be on Facebook. I have no interest in social media.
We just have to find you on the
whatsoever.
streets.
Huh?
We just have to find you on the streets.
That's where I'll be.
All right.
And that's where I came from, and that's where I belong.
So if you want to find out what Charlie's doing, well, good luck. He's not on the internet, but if you see him in the hallway there, just pin him down and you're like, tell me when the show is.
No, I don't. I'm so lousy at self-promotion. I'm just terrible at it. I get embarrassed and uncomfortable. I just want to go to work and go home. You know, at the end of the day, at the end of my days, and I direct an awful lot as well, I swear to you that the minute I'm in my car and I close the door, if someone was in the back seat with a gun to my head saying, what did you just do? I would go, shit.
I closed the door.
Boom. Done.
Really, just do it. I have this capacity to just flip a switch and then go into real life, which is where I'm happiest. I love my work. I love my work. It gets everything when I'm in it. The minute it's done, I love my life.
Well, Charlie, we're going to flip the switch here and let you go back to your real life and become a happy gentleman again. Charlie Adler, thank you so much for coming on the show. I appreciate it.
It's Erik Nagel at Florida SuperCon in Miami Beach.
We're back here on It's Erik Nagel. We just spoke to Charlie Adler about his all his involvement with the world of animation and voiceover stuff. And you never know, some of these guys that you see in TV shows, you think nothing of them as little bit players or what have you. And then you look in their bios and everything and like, oh my God, they voice almost everything that I've loved from my childhood. It's a great opportunity to actually get to talk to these people, too, to see what's in their head. And with Charlie, he doesn't remember anything. The second he walks out the door, he's like, the script's gone. I left everything there. I'm living a life. I don't remember half the projects I do. Yeah. Thank you so much to Charlie Adler. Moving on to our last guest tonight, Emilie de Ravin. This was a lady that we had on Opie and Anthony a couple times, especially during the height of Lost. She was Claire on Lost, and I had to ask her about the fact that people do two voices when they talk about Claire. It's Charlie, where she's yelling, or where's my baby? So we'll ask her, I'm like, does that get annoying? I imagine it would. But she's currently on the new show. Well, it's not a new show. She's currently on the hit show Once Upon a Time, which is on ABC. It's pretty much it's fairy tales come to life. She plays Belle from Beauty and the Beast. Yeah. Very popular show. Chicks dig it. And this lady... She looked good. She smelled good. She could not have been nicer. Let's go down to the stage and speak to our final guest of the evening, Emilie de Ravin.
It's Erik Nagel at Florida Supercon in Miami Beach.
You know her from Lost, ladies and gentlemen. She's currently on Once Upon a Time. Please say hello to Emilie de Ravin.
Hi!
It's on. Take a seat.
It is on.
Got to keep it pretty close.
I just have to actually have it in my mouth. Okay.
I gotta say, I appreciate you taking the time. We were watching you run through the crowds trying to get over here in time to do this.
Sprinting, thank you.
Thank you. So how have you been?
I've been good. I just was saying back there, for the first time since I went, inside today, I have goosebumps. So I'm excited to go outside.
It's nice that the air conditioning was catching up to all the heat that's going on around here. It's not just the humidity, but from all these bodies that are here enjoying the con. Emilie, last time I saw you, you were up on our show, Opie and Anthony, in New York City for countless appearances for Lost. But now you're on another show that has just got such a rabid fan base with Once Upon a Time. How awesome is that?
That's pretty cool.
You play Belle. This is a great spot to be in here. That those stories are based in. There's some kind of foundation to them, but you don't have to rely on just those old-fashioned stories. You can take that character and go in completely new and modern directions.
Yeah, they've given themselves, Adam and Eddie, that is, the creators, a huge leeway in the creative department, which is fantastic as actors and writers on the show. I'm not a writer on the show, by the way. But, it's great because it is that, everybody knows the original stories from Disney and the movies that were made, and it's nice to put that kind of not even modern but just different spin on things and different characters interacting in different ways. I mean, even just looking at what they've done with the Beauty and the Beast of Rumpel being the Beast. I love that, and I love the way that they've integrated that in Storybrooke, and it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
This is such a great opportunity because it doesn't happen to many actors where you're lucky enough to get a show that just goes through the stratosphere as far as fan reception and ratings and all that, and that's the big thing. But then to have lightning strike twice, to jump into yet another project that is just as big.
Yeah, it's and so different, but also so similar in a way of there being a fantasy element to it, and and all these shows and all these things that you never know how they're going to pop, if they're going to pop, when they're going to pop, what audience is out there, this week, this year, next year. It's kind of cool and kind of interesting, but also at the same time a little frustrating to not know, but then exciting when you're like, damn, this show really hit and did well, and just go for the ride on it. It's great.
I was just going to say, now you're working on Once Upon a Time, does it suck not going to Hawaii for filming all the time for Lost?
No, because I get to go to Vancouver.
That's cool, yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, both incredibly different places. which is awesome. I love to travel. And Hawaii's great, and Vancouver's great, so it's cool.
That's awesome.
Both very, fresh, healthy environments, especially compared to LA where I'm based. So I get to breathe air, like real air.
Clean air.
In these other places. Yeah. So that's cool.
That's awesome.
What is your day like is when you get on set to actually shoot an episode? Because with Lost, everybody was supposed to look as worn out and tethered as possible. So it wasn't really hard to dress down and get ready for those scenes. But with Once Upon a Time, there's a lot of makeup and costuming and placements.
No, it's all natural. What are you talking about?
You just show up the bell of the ball. What is your day like when you get on set there? Like, what time is it starting for you, and how long until you're actually starting to shoot your scene?
Well, getting to work depends on what we're shooting. And, if you're shooting exterior night and you're just doing an entire, 12-hour shooting day of night, obviously there's not 12 hours of, darkness, but you'll be shooting all through the night, wrap as soon as the sun starts to hover above the horizon. So it really depends on when we start shooting, but generally come in about 2 to 3 hours before you'd actually start filming something. And then it depends on if they're running on time or if they're running over or change the order of scenes or many variables. So basically you don't know.
If you're shooting at night, like you said, a lot of the night scenes you're getting in around 2 or 3 in the afternoon or something to do a whole night thing and then stopping when daylight comes. Do they ever have it where sometimes you're doing a night scene and then back to back all of a sudden you're in a day scene and you got to shoot like within 4 hours just to get the daylight in the next?
No, there's a certain amount of like legal turnaround so that people get sleep, so that people are not driving tired and
Right. Once Upon a Time, when it came out, had even though you weren't directly competing, but in the concepts were sort of the same with Grimm. With Grimm. Was based on fairy tales and what have you, but obviously you're going in a way different direction than what Grimm goes. Was there any kind of concern or I don't want to say backlash, but like anybody speak out of the fact that now you have 2 fairy tale shows, except one's backed more by Disney than compared to the Grimm's fairy tales?
I didn't really hear of any, and I don't have any, or didn't have any issue myself. I think that it's one of those things too that seems to be like the time for for fairy tales right now, whereas there's been
have never been hotter.
Fairy tales are really hot right now. It's the new thing.
They've been out of the spotlight for 300 years, but they're coming back.
They're coming back. Just like bell bottoms.
And 8 tracks.
And 8 tracks. Yes, bring back 8 tracks. Come on.
It's coming.
With the touch on Lost for a little bit, I'm sure you've gotten countless people talking to you about their opinion of the way the series ended, and we're not going to go into that.
Really? No, I haven't had anyone else.
But before all that happened, you're wrapping up and everything, and I like to ask this question. Was there anything that was sentimental or stuck out to you that you knew that you needed to take off the set, being a prop, an outfit, something like that? Did you take something home?
No, I didn't. I was trying to think. I had a backup. What I wanted to take was my squirrel baby, because I thought that thing just looked so messed up. I have to keep that. It's the weirdest prop in the entire world.
Where would you put it?
But Damon, I think it was Damon who took it. I should steal it from him.
You should.
I should.
Put it in one of those.
Don't tell anyone. As I'm telling everyone.
Do one of those decorative cradles like old ladies do when they have the babies in the living room.
Naturally, that's what I do.
I'm like, oh, you have one of those too. Is this an American Girl or something? And you walk over and like, what the fuck?
No more nativity scenes. Just
nativity scene. Just put it out on the front lawn.
Just put it next.
That would be awesome.
That would be so amazing.
With the precious moments, like in the cabinet, in the curio cabinet.
No, I'm talking the big life-size ones.
Oh yeah,
that they put on front lawns of churches.
I'm Jewish, Eric. I don't know about that stuff.
I don't know if I'd be very popular in the community if I did that.
So when do you start shooting again for the next season, Once Upon a Time?
We start back the second week of July, so not too long. Yeah,
so
basically a couple weeks.
You don't really get the summer vacations, do you, between seasons?
Get the half summer vacation. But that's cool because we get half the summer in Vancouver, which is such a beautiful time of year up there. So.
And what other projects are you working on besides Once Upon a Time?
Once Upon a Time. It takes up 9 months of the year. It's not much else.
Well, you never know. Sometimes
Yeah.
people have a podcast, or they're like, oh, I've been shooting this independent movie on the side. It took me 6 weeks to do.
Yeah, no, I have an indie that'll be, I don't have an exact release date, but the beginning of next year coming out called The Submarine Kid. And...
Fans of that?
Thank you. Yeah. And just looking forward to this season. I was just saying to some other people before, I still haven't got a script for, which is not unusual, but for the first episode, so excited to see where we're going. Headed off to Camelot. I keep wanting to do like a horse riding gesture, even though they better have me riding a horse. They haven't done that yet. I really want to. I love horses, so
Emily, we're running
putting that out there.
We're running out of time with you, but one more last question, if you will indulge me.
Sure.
And I've seen this happen because when you were leaving our XM studio facilities at the time, there was a crowd outside, and you were signing photos and what have you. But I saw somebody do this, and I know that people do. How annoying is that people are doing your character from Lost to you if you're in public, like if they're yelling Charlie or my baby? Because I've seen that so many times. I'm like, oh my God, that she can't just be known for those 2 lines. Is that still happening? Someone's going, Charlie!
I haven't just the Where's My Baby. No, I don't find it annoying. I think it's cool. Like if people are enjoying, I mean, it's a big part of the reason why I do what I do. I love all you guys. The fans are amazing, and it's your appreciation means the world. So no, I think it's really cool. Keep calling that stuff out.
All right, especially do it when you go over and see her today. And
really loud
just
in
scream
my
baby
ear.
right at her. I'm sure she'll love it. Emily, do you have Twitter, Instagram, all that? You don't remember?
I am on Twitter and Instagram. It's just my name, I think.
Are you certified with the...
I'm certified,
Okay,
yes.
so if you search Emily de Ravin on there...
Verified.
Yeah, you look for her with the blue check. That's whatever her address is.
I know my Twitter is just my name, no spaces.
Well, you're lucky enough to get that. Most celebrities have to pay, as we've said in the past, pay or have some legal issues just to try to get it off Squatters, where you got to put a hyphen or the real, Emilie de Ravin.
Yeah, somebody had my name, but I guess people, I don't know who took care of
Fixed
it.
the problem.
Yeah, I technically own Erik Nagel at Twitter, and that's how I got on this radio show. I'm just holding it over his head.
You bastard. All right, we're out of time. Emilie de Ravin, thank you so much for coming on the show. Once Upon a Time, amazing. You played Belle. Can't wait to see you next season. Thank you so much for coming on.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Whoops, you know what the music means. Our time is up.
Yes, our time is up. We are pretty much done here from Florida SuperCon in Miami Beach, Florida. We're heading back to New York. We'll be back on Monday for Opie and Jimmy, and then we'll figure out what we're going to do for next Friday for the 4th of July weekend. And then the week after that, Roland and I head to San Diego Comic-Con for a whole slew of interviews. That's going to, if Florida was nuts and insane with the workload, San Diego is going to be 10 times that. Yeah, Rollins just throws names at me, and he's like, would you want this, would you want that? And I think every single time he's making it up, and I go, there's no way that person's available. And then he shows, no, look, and he shows me the email, and he's asking for a confirmation. I'm like, yes, of course I would like to talk to that gentleman. Or yes, I would like to talk to that movie cast. Roland is really pulling out all the stops for San Diego. Roland's upset, though, because it's a lot of work and it's a lot of his contacts. There's no beach day for him. He's very sad. But there is a pool at the hotel, Roland, and a balcony. But we'll get into that later. I think that's it from Florida SuperCon. Thank you so much to Mike and his staff for inviting us down, for taking care of all the arrangements and coordinating everything for us, and bringing us down here. We can't thank you and your staff enough. We'd love to come back next time you guys are doing this, if you have us. If you don't, I totally understand. I'll blame Giddles for that. It's all his fault. Who else do we got to thank? Thanks to everybody that we had on the program today. If you missed it, it's going to be on SiriusXM On Demand, so you can go back, download the entire show, and check everything out. Interviews will show up later also on YouTube.com/It's Erik Nagel. Subscribe to the Facebook, It's Erik Nagel, and the Twitter, It's Erik Nagel as well for all the updates. Are we missing anything else here? Thanks to DJ Who Kid once again for taking us out to dinner in the club and showing us a good time. Thank you, sir. We really do appreciate that experience. Thank you also to Greg Opie Hughes and to Don Wicklund for letting us do this. They said, when we first told them this, they were like, what are you talking about? You're booked. I said, no, they want to book us to come down here. And then we showed them everything, and they're like, okay, go do it. So they were nice enough to let us do that. So thanks to Ope and thanks to Don Wicklund for letting us have the time to do this show. And I'm trying to think of anything else here. Roland, do we have anything else that we forgot to mention?
Yeah, thanks for United for a shitty airline.
Okay. I guess Roland doesn't like United Airlines. No, he's not kidding. E-Rock Radio on Twitter and Instagram. Giddlebase on Twitter and Instagram. Rolandos99 on the Twitter and Instagram. Also, shout out to Matt OG, who couldn't make it to this trip. I wish he could have, but what can you do? He's got a lot of toys coming his way, so I think he'll be happy. So next time, when we figure out when the next show is going to be, Giddles, Roland, and Eric, till next time, be seeing ya.
And that's all the time we have. Follow the guys on Twitter and Instagram at eRock Radio and at GeekStuffOG. eRock Radio and at GeekStuffOG. The show should be back next week, right here on